Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Beast familiar for all. Perfect evolution of Queen Medusa at the beginning. Chapter 41. Luo Lao's mental strength was so thick that the students waiting outside the measuring room couldn't hold it anymore. Zhang Chao also felt that something was wrong, so he had to prepare to disturb the test to remind Lao Luo. Fortunately, after Zhang Chao's words fell, the mental pressure in the testing room gradually faded, and the students outside also felt a little better. Zhang Chao looked at the students who fell on the ground outside, and his face turned serious. It's just an aftershock of mental coercion, so many students can't bear it. How much mental power did Luo Lao use inside? Teacher Deng also said. Yes, isn't Shu Li also in there? Is he going to be okay? The two looked at each other, and they both understood the worry in each other's eyes. They didn't know if Shu Li had offended Luo Lao somewhere, which made Luo Lao so angry, even unscrupulous to release mental coercion on a junior. If something happened to Shu Li, even if they wanted to offend Mr. Luo, they would have to bring Shu Li out first. At this moment, Lao Luo's voice sounded in the testing room. Zhang Chao, come in. Zhang Chao didn't dare to be negligent, knocked on the door of the testing room a few times and walked in. As soon as he entered, he saw the young man lying on the ground and Shu Li who was panting heavily. It seems that the mental coercion just now has brought a lot of pressure on Shu Li. It was Lao Luo who was the culprit of all this, and now he was sitting on the chair as if nothing had happened. The student refused to release the beast. Ask him why. Hearing this, Zhang Chao looked at Shu Li. Although he didn't understand why Shu Li didn't release the beast in front of Mr. Luo, Shu Li must have his reasons for doing so, so he said, Shu Li, you are now interfering with the level determination. The order is already in place. Do you have any hidden secrets that you can't release the beast? If you don't, you will be punished by the school. Zhang Chao did this for Shu Li's benefit. After all, this is the school's regulation. Punished. Shu Li didn't expect that just because he didn't want to release his own beast, there would be such serious consequences. My strange beast ate something after the battle with the 8-spear golden spider king, and it stayed inside the totem. It seemed to be digesting, and I couldn't scream. Shu Li thought about it for a while, and felt that saying this could not be considered a deliberate lie. It is true that he can't call out his own strange beast now, and Queen Medusa is indeed digesting after eating the blood food flower. Luo Lao narrowed his eyes, waved at Zhang Chao, and said, okay, you can go out. Zhang Chao went out in response, and the moment he closed the door, Zhang Chao let out a long sigh of relief. The atmosphere inside just now could be described as weird, and there was an awakened person like Luo Lao sitting in charge. Zhang Chao, really, it's too much, and I don't know how that kid Shu Li has persisted in it until now. At this moment, Zhang Chao really wanted to know how much Shu Li's spiritual power was. In the measurement room, Luo Lao returned to his initial state and asked, tell me, what is the level of the alien beast, and what is its name? Looking at Shu Li's appearance, Luo Lao felt that his strange beast should be more spiritual, and it must not be weak. Shu Li said slowly, Queen Medusa of SSS level, the current level is SSS 3. Hearing this, Mr. Luo took a deep breath. This student in front of him is the top awakener of the SSS class recently recruited by the school. It doesn't look like it's superficial, but it still has some strength. Whether it's a strange beast or mental power, it looks very good, but I don't know how physical it is. At this moment, Shu Li also noticed that Luo Lao was different from other people. Facing the SSS level awakened, many instructors began to lose their composure, but Luo Lao's reaction was very good. Is this old Luo really just a small surveyor? Okay, now hit the cushion over there with all your strength. You only have one chance, don't try to keep your strength, or try a few more times. Hearing Luo Lao's words, Shu Li walked up to the instrument, aimed at the cushion, used his torso bones, concentrated all his strength on his fist, and then punched out with all his strength. There was a buzzing sound from the fist. With a bang, there was a loud sound from the cushion, as if it would be interrupted in the next second. However, the cushion only made a loud noise in the end. After the sound, the cushion slowly returned to its original shape, as if it had never been hit before. This cushion is extraordinary. Shu Li noticed the extraordinariness of this cushion at a glance. His fist can crush rocks, how could it not break a cushion? It seems that the material of this upholstery is unusual. While Shu Li was observing the soft cushion, a number, 76, silently appeared on the display screen of the instrument. 76. Shu Li clearly remembers that his physical fitness is 67, why is it displayed as 76 here? Could it be the trunk bone? On the other side, an unbelievable look flashed across Luo Lao's eyes. 76, a number that hasn't appeared in many years. 76 represents extraordinary physical fitness and physical potential. This number is enough to make all the colleges crazy for this student. Luo Lao couldn't wait any longer. Release your spiritual power now. Shu Li also obeyed obediently, and slowly released his mental power. In fact, when the previous students, including Lu Jiwan, tested their mental power, Mr. Luo personally used his own mental power to help them measure it. That's because their spiritual power has not yet reached the point of being released. But Shu Li is different. With the test just now, Mr. Luo is very sure that Shu Li's mental power can be released. And at least reached 110 or more. Sure enough, the second he came into contact with Shu Li's spiritual power, Luo Lao instantly knew Shu Li's spiritual power level, and a number spit out from Luo Lao's mouth, 120. 120, the spiritual power of a freshman 120. The shock in Lao Luo's heart can no longer be expressed in words. The person standing opposite is not a student, but an evildoer, right? Outside the testing room, many students sensed the mental strength inside the testing room, and their muscles were all tense. They looked nervously at the door of the testing room, and the students all backed away subconsciously. What's going on again? Why is there a terrifying mental power being released all the time? How do I know? What the hell is going on inside? I haven't seen anything like this before. Fortunately, this time, Shu Li's mental power was absorbed very quickly. After Luo Lao gave the specific number, Shu Li immediately collected it. Just as the students were discussing, the door of the measurement room opened from the inside. Student, what level are you in? Many students looked at the paper in Shu Li's hand, and a big, son of the proud sun, came into view. The scene was suddenly quiet. Apart from the many unbelievable eyes, Lu Jiwan showed such a bitter expression. The proud son. Zhang Chao and Mr. Deng listened to the students' discussion from a distance, and they could know the result without having to go to see it. Sure enough, he is the son of Tianzhao, and he has lived up to my expectations. Teacher Deng also echoed, seeing how serious the situation inside you was, I thought Mr. Luo would directly judge Shu Li as an ordinary student. In this regard, Zhang Chao expressed different opinions. That's why you don't know Mr. Luo. Although Mr. Luo usually looks unreliable and says that he will judge the grades of students according to their mood, in fact, Mr. Luo cares about these students. Otherwise, you think you can rely on Mr. Luo with their mental strength, these students can still stand here properly. This sentence reminded Mr. Deng, if Mr. Luo hadn't deliberately protected them, how could these students stand here safe and sound? It seems that Mr. Luo has always had a sharp mouth and a tofu heart. The two looked at each other and smiled. After all, which tutor doesn't cherish his students? At the student's place, Lu Jiwan walked up to Shu Li's side, smiling a little bit bitterly. Congratulations, you should be the only son of the arrogance in our class. It's very remarkable to be recognized by Mr. Luo. It's a fluke, it's just a fluke. Who in the room doesn't want to be like the son of Tianzhao? Even though he praised Shu Li on the surface, he didn't know how much he wanted to replace him, or become a strong man on the same level as him. In this regard, Shu Li did not dare to be too embarrassing, otherwise the school life would not be so peaceful in the future. After Shu Li's test was over, some students were tested one after another. Except for the two Qi and blood students, the rest were ordinary students. Some of the students were frustrated and some were lost. Under Zhang Chao's organization, they lined up outside the testing room, not knowing what they were waiting for. After a while, a group of awakened people with extraordinary temperament walked over not far away, and they knew that the level was not low at a glance. The scene was so imposing that no student dared to discuss in a low voice. Seeing them coming, Zhang Chao said, our school divides students into departments based on their physical fitness, mental strength, and strange beasts. In total, they are divided into spiritual departments, strengthening departments, and control departments. These are the tutors of our school. The tutors will choose you to be his students according to your test results, and study under him. Of course, you can also recommend yourself. With that said, Zhang Chao nodded to the tutors, and said to the students, okay, now interested students can go to the tutors and show them your test results. Zhang Chao's voice was not loud, but because the scene was extremely quiet, all the students could hear him clearly. For a moment, all the students looked at the dozen or so tutors opposite, and at the same time, the tutors were also looking at these students. Lu Jiwan, your physical fitness is good, suitable for our reinforcement department. I am Zhou Yu, the instructor of the reinforcement department. If you are willing to join our reinforcement department, we are willing to give you as much resources as possible. Just when all the students were at a loss, a very bulky and muscular instructor walked to Lu Jiwan's side. And several instructors also followed behind Zhou Yu, and nodded kindly to Lu Jiwan. It seems that they are all instructors of the strengthening department. There was actually a mentor who directly stepped forward to invite Lu Jiwan. But this is also expected. Obviously, all the teachers know Lu Jiwan's strength. Lu Jiwan bowed his head in thought for a moment, then raised his head quickly, and said goodbye to Shu Li. Brother Shu, I'll go to the reinforcement department first, let's contact on the phone. Shu Li nodded, okay. Lu Jiwan waved his hand, and followed Zhou Yu's mentor of the enhancement department. Lu Jiwan's various qualities are good, but especially his physical fitness has reached an astounding level. In this case, even if he wants Lu Jiwan from the mental department and the control department, he will not make a move. Wen Qi, your spiritual power is good, are you interested in joining our spiritual department? Student, you. Soon, after having the first one, these mentors stopped waiting and asked for someone. In addition to Lu Jiwan, a talented student, several students with blood and vitality were quickly taken away. As long as the students who were called, almost all followed the instructor, and no one refused. Seeing that there were fewer and fewer people on the field, ordinary students began to worry. If they were not selected by the instructor now, then they would ask the teacher to teach them next. Fortunately, even some ordinary students were picked up by their instructors. Every student whose name was registered had his heart beating fast, and hurriedly followed the teacher away, as if he was about to be returned by the teacher a second later. Student, I have seen your performance in Beimuluo Forest. You are very good at performing on the spot, and you are also very good at using your own beasts and spiritual power flexibly. Do you want to come to our control system? An ordinary student who had been clutching the hem of his clothes, saw a tutor coming to him, immediately couldn't jump up, and hurriedly followed the tutor away. It seems that not only the evaluation in all aspects, but even the performance in Beimuluo Forest was included as one of the judging criteria by these mentors. Indeed, if the strength is strong but cannot be used in battle, then it is not as good as an ordinary student. Shu Li thought silently, but after a while, there were only a dozen people around, but no one invited him. At this moment, Shu Li was a little confused. Could it be that because he was the last one to come out of Beimuluo Forest, so the instructors didn't think much of him? But Shu Li thought that his performance in the Beimuluo Great Forest was not bad. Besides, he was a student who was evaluated as the son of Tianzhao, so it is unlikely that no mentor invited him. However, Shu Li's confidence was completely shattered when he saw that the mentors were almost gone. No way, is there really no one to choose me? Shu Li looked nervously at the only mentor left on the field, and watched helplessly as that mentor took away a girl. Here, on my left. In the arena, there were a few other students who were left behind like Shu Li, and they all held their heads together, looking extremely disappointed. Shu Li's eyes went dark, and a bad feeling came to his heart. At this moment, Zhang Chao and Mr. Deng came in front of them. Okay, the rest of you will follow Teacher Deng to register, and the school will automatically assign you to the tutor. What's the difference between this and choosing the rest? No one. For these young and vigorous students, this is simply a great shame, more uncomfortable than killing them. The few remaining students were full of disappointment, but they were all ordinary students, so it's fine if they failed, but Shu Li is the son of Tianzhao, so can he lose the election? Shu Li looked at Zhang Chao unwillingly. Zhang Chao smiled and said, Shu Li, come with me. Hearing Zhang Chao's words, Shu Li breathed a sigh of relief and quickly followed. Those students who were not selected by the tutors did not mean that they would have no way out in the future. In previous years, there were also ordinary students who were not optimistic at the beginning, and later became very strong students, even gifted students. It all comes down to talent and hard work. Shu Li followed Zhang Chao for an unknown period of time, because he was worried about his tutor's affairs and didn't have the heart to observe the surrounding school environment. "Teacher, where are we going?" Shu Li couldn't bear it anymore, and asked. And Zhang Chao pointed to a building not far away, and said, "I'll take you there to register. After registration, you can choose to get the rewards for this 100 school freshman assessment, or you can choose to go back to the dormitory to have a look first, or take a stroll around the campus, whatever you want." Shu Li was dumbfounded, and asked in surprise, "Registration? Then, where is my tutor? Aren't the other students registering after being claimed by their tutors? It is said that there is an exclusive tutor in this kind of information. What is his current situation?" "Tutor." Zhang Chao finally didn't just rush on his way, turned around and looked at Shu Li. "Do you think our S-level tutors can be your tutors? Or those A-level tutors?" This sentence directly choked Shu Li. Indeed, he is an SSS level awakener, and it may not take long for these tutors to teach him anything. If this is the case, what is the purpose of Shu Li coming to school? What is the purpose of the Royal Academy to recruit him? Seeing Shu Li's puzzled face, Zhang Chao said, "Don't worry, the school will give a solution to this matter, and will give you the answer at that time. After all, it has been so many years, even our school has never had SSS level students, so you just need to register first." Shu Li responded, and the two continued to walk towards the building not far away without saying anything more. The Student Information Registration Office is on the first floor of the Wangdu building. Because Shu Li was almost the last reason to be taken there, he could only stand outside. The inside is now full of students and tutors. There is a rule in the Royal Capital Academy, that is, when a student registers for the first time, his tutor must personally lead him to prevent people from making false reports. Not only freshmen, but also some old students who have re-registered and tested, are also preparing to register here, but they are not accompanied by a tutor, so the registration office, which is not small, is crowded with people, and there is almost no place to set foot. The director of the registration office was dangling inside, sweating profusely from being crowded, and was about to go out to get some air, but happened to run into Zhang Chao, who rushed over. "Teacher Zhang." After confirming that it was Zhang Chao who came, the director of the registration office's eyes lit up, his overweight body suddenly became agile, and he squeezed over quickly, smiling all over his face. "Teacher Zhang, why did you come in person? Are you taking students?" Shu Li looked at Zhang Chao with some surprise. It seems that this Zhang Chao has a high status in the college. He can choose not to accept students. For a moment, everyone's eyes turned to this side. Although Wangdu College is quite prominent among many colleges and has relatively strong comprehensive strength, there are not many S-level tutors, and most of them are A-level tutors. But it doesn't mean that the tutors of the S-level can receive special care in the Royal Capital Academy. After all, the Academy invites them to be tutors, not ancestors. However, this Zhang Chao is different. There are rumors in the Imperial Capital Academy that Zhang Chao once defeated an old monster of SS2 level with the strength of S3, and defended the safety of the Imperial Capital Academy. This incident made Zhang Chao famous, and he naturally gained a privilege, that is, Zhang Chao could not teach the students, but he was obliged to protect the school when necessary, which was equivalent to inviting a guest to the school. Therefore, both the principal and other teaching staff in the school respected Zhang Chao very much. It's no wonder that the owner of the registry was so attentive to Zhang Chao. "This is a freshman, register for him, don't fill in the tutor line yet." Zhang Chao is also used to the unimpeded life in school, and he doesn't need to queue. Of course, many students around were dissatisfied with Zhang Chao and Shu Li when they saw this scene, because they had been queuing for a long time. How could this person jump in line casually? Most of those who had such sentiments were freshmen, but the old students and instructors were silent and did not complain at all. Some old students who had heard about Zhang Chao's deeds began to discuss in low voices. "Teacher Zhang actually brought someone over to register himself. Who is this kid? Didn't you hear that Mr. Zhang went to pick up the freshmen some time ago and took them to Beimuluo Forest to participate in the freshman assessment of the 100 schools? It seems that this should be a freshman." I've heard of it too, but what kind of freshman can be sent by a privileged person like Mr. Zhang to register in person? Could it be that the freshman is a rare talent, and even Teacher Zhang has moved his mind to accept disciples? What nonsense! Didn't you hear Teacher Zhang say that you don't need to fill in the column for the tutor? As the discussion became louder, many students turned their attention to Shu Li. They were all curious about what kind of person Mr. Zhang could send him here. While they were watching Shu Li was also watching from the crowd. He saw some familiar faces, but he didn't see Lu Jiwan, so he was a little disappointed. Instructor Zhang also followed Shu Li's gaze, and guessed after noticing the disappointment on Shu Li's face, "Are you looking for Lu Jiwan? I think you have a good relationship with him, and the two always appear together." "Yes, it seems that he has completed the formalities, maybe he is on his way to the dormitory now." Instructor Zhang explained. "They don't have such a simple process as yours. After registration, he has to follow the instructor who brought him to the reinforcement department to have a look, say hello to the instructor, and so on. There are more things than you imagined. A lot of. So I'm an exception," Shu Li complained in his heart, and then followed the director of the registration office to register, and received some materials, daily necessities, school uniforms, etc. Because there are too many things, the school directly gave each freshman a space package. The space is not too big and not small, as if it was custom made to hold these things. Just put it down, no more, no less, but this package needs to be returned. After finishing all the things, Shu Li can be regarded as a formal student of Royal Capital Academy. The school uniform is a suit-style jacket and suit trousers. The overall color is blue, with gold trim, and some parts of the clothes are densely covered with gold patterns. It looks like a landmark building in the imperial capital. "Bring your things and I'll take you to the dormitory." Seeing that there were many people at the registration office, Zhang Chao ignored the request of the director of the registration office to let him stay, and took Shu Li directly to the student dormitory. The student dormitory is a bit far from the teaching area. If you don't have time to attend class, you can go to the temporary stop to rent some flying beasts. Rent. Walking on the road, Zhang Chao introduced to Shu Li some necessary skills for life in the school. When talking about flying beasts, Shu Li was obviously taken aback. Wangdu College occupies a huge area, and the living area and teaching area are far apart, so almost all the students who come to school have to rent flying beasts. Yes, you can download a school's traffic software, in which you can check which alien beasts are nearby, and you can book directly on your mobile phone. Of course, not only flying alien beasts, but also some alien beasts on land. It can be used as a means of transportation, but it is relatively rare in our school. Even though Shu Li was mentally prepared, he didn't expect that Wangdu College had already advanced to this point. Isn't this the same as those car-hailing apps on the Earth? Thinking of this, Shu Li asked, "Is there anyone who uses worker ants as a means of transportation?" Shu Li remembered that he still had a worker ant under his command. The last time he was in Beimuluo Forest, he found that it was not bad for transportation. It is better and more convenient to have your own vehicle than to have to make an appointment all the time. There are some worker ants, but not many, and the school encourages everyone to use flying beasts, because if worker ants walk in the campus, it will still affect the traffic of the school a little. That's right, if it's a flying beast, there are indeed a lot of requirements. Of course, there are some students who will bring some strange beasts from their homes as a means of transportation, but they all have to pay the parking fee, which is naturally much cheaper than renting a strange beast. Are there any students who can bring in strange beasts by themselves? What kind of wealthy family is this? Seeing Shu Li shake his head, Zhang Chao added, "If you want to bring in a strange beast, you can, but you have to report to the school first, and just go to the registration office to register." But having said that, even though Zhang Chao made this suggestion, he never thought that Shu Li would really have alien beasts. After all, there are very few alien beasts that can be tamed. Only a small family can afford one. As for Shu Li, Zhang Chao knew Shu Li very well. Shu Li was just a child from a small city with little money on him, and he was new to the imperial capital, so it was impossible for him to have a mount. However, Shu Li's eyes lit up, thinking about when he would go to the registration office to register his B2 level worker ants, and then he would be able to justifiably release the worker ants. Isn't it too extravagant to use B2 worker ants? After all, there are many students whose strange beasts don't seem to have level B2 yet. Just as Shu Li was thinking, they had come to the living area. The living area of Imperial College is like a small city, with restaurants, hotels, etc. If no one told Shu Li might think that this is a small city. Look at your dormitory number. Shu Li looked at the information on his student card in response, and the column of the dormitory number read, Building A. Seeing this, Shu Li frowned. There is no specific dormitory number written on it, only a Building A. Does it mean that you can choose any vacant room in Building A? And why is there no unit number in this? Shu Li stroked his hair. He realized that he couldn't understand the dormitory number. But Zhang Chao said with a smile, you will know when you come with me. Building A is not the kind of Building A you imagined. Not the one you imagined. What else could it be? Following Zhang Chao, Shu Li changed from a very ordinary narrow street to an open road, and the street scene changed from ordinary to more prosperous. The further they walked, the more frightened Shu Li became, because they had already passed through the apartment complex, and further inside were small villas one after another. Inside is the villa area. Shu Li subconsciously slowed down. My dormitory is not a villa, is it? Soon, Shu Li's conjecture was confirmed, and Zhang Chao led him to stop in front of a villa that seemed to have been unoccupied for a long time. The dormitory is all face recognition. You should have entered the data when you were at the registration office just now. You should try it now. So advanced. Shu Li walked forward listening to Zhang Chao's words. Sure enough, just as he stood in front of the black screen in front of him, the black screen lit up, and soon, the door of the villa opened. Here, I live in this villa alone. Shu Li looked at the dormitory without any trace of human habitation, and was a little dumbfounded. For Shu Li, a student with a very ordinary family, he has never lived in such a big house until now, and the student dormitory in Shu Li's mind is the kind of student apartment just now, where several people live in one apartment. And Shu Li thinks from the bottom of his heart that that kind of student apartment is already very good, the top level he can imagine, because when he was on Earth, the school dormitory Shu Li lived in was just a room for 4 people. So when Shu Li saw such a luxurious villa at this moment, Shu Li was still taken aback. What are you doing stupidly at the door? Go in and have a look, this is where you will live for the next 4 years. Shu Li walked in awkwardly and looked at the decoration inside the villa. This 2-story villa has a dining room, study room, bathroom, and some storage rooms on the first floor. The living room occupies the largest area. This living room feels like Shu Li has his home in Zhongcheng. Big and visible to the naked eye, these furniture and daily necessities are almost all top-level configurations. Go to the second floor, where there are 2 bedrooms and a study. Is this the study? Shu Li looked at the study room, which was like a small library, and twitched the corner of his mouth fiercely. Zhang Chao looked at Shu Li's reaction and couldn't help laughing. Not only that, the school dormitory will also send Aunt to clean it regularly. If you want to eat in the dormitory, you can apply for a special cook online. Aunt, set a time and let them come over. The living area of Royal College has always been aimed at providing students with the best living environment, trying to make students living in the school feel like living at home. Shu Li asked, are these free? If it is not free, how much will the daily expenses be? Booking online is not free, because not only Aunt, some students will also accept such part-time jobs, and you will understand after you live for a while. After Zhang Chao made some arrangements for Shu Li, he left the living area, leaving Shu Li here alone to get familiar with the environment. In order to give new students an adaptation stage, Wangdu College will give new students 5 days a year to familiarize them with the living area and the teaching area. Time flies. Exactly 5 days have passed since Shu Li moved into the villa area and became familiar with the facilities in the school. During these 5 days, Shu Li has hardly met anyone he knows. Lu Jiwan seems to be very busy and doesn't have much time online, and his dormitory is not known where he is arranged. So Lu Jiwan has been disappearing these days. Not only Lu Jiwan, Zhang Chao didn't show up again after sending Shu Li over. Originally, Shu Li wanted to ask Zhang Chao about his mentor, but now it didn't work. So Shu Li was very bored these days, except for going to the registration office to register his transportation, he never went out. At this time, a huge worker ant was standing next to Shuli's villa, and there happened to be a dock next to Shuli's villa, which was for the convenience of the students in the villa area. In this short period of 5 days, Shuli finally enjoyed all the privileges of the son of Tianzhou. The treatment enjoyed by the son of Tianzhou in Huangdu Academy is 5 to 10 times that of other students. It is no exaggeration to say that Shuli is now very grateful that he applied for the Royal Academy. Shuli lay comfortably on the sofa, living the few remaining leisurely days. Outside the villa area, a group of 3 people stopped at the door of Shuli's villa, watching the worker ants next to Shuli's villa open their mouths. Is this a means of transportation? A female student looked at the worker ants on the parking lot with a look of astonishment. No, can't it? This worker ant looks like a B-level beast to me. Who would use a B-level beast as a means of transportation? And how can a B-level beast be so easy to tame? I saw a rich man who used a B-level flying beast before. I heard that his family runs a traffic beast rental company. The 3 circled around Shuli's B2-level worker ant, as if they were looking at something novel. It really doesn't hurt people, it's really tamed. What kind of people do you think live in it, who can tame B-level worker ants? Who knows? Those who live in the villa area are either rich people, the sons of Tianzhou, or the tutors of the academy. Is it strange that people like them have 1 or 2 high-level strange beasts as vehicles? The other 2 nodded upon hearing the words. His words were indeed very convincing, because the people who lived there were either rich or powerful. The appearance of B-level vehicles here is barely acceptable. But even so, the 3 of them were still very shocked. Let's not talk about this. Have you watched the videos uploaded on the campus network recently? Outside the villa, the voices of the 3 people gradually faded away, but they were not the only ones. Both students and teachers in the school have been watching some videos recently. And these videos are the videos in the freshman assessment of the 100 schools. The freshmen are all in the video to see if they can find the picture of themselves defeating the beasts bravely, while the old students are looking for the strong ones of this year. There will always be a few talented people in each session, and this year, freshmen and old students will start the freshman challenge, so the old students will naturally pay more attention to these videos. I don't know if it was to protect Shuli and other students. The video of them fighting against the 8-spear golden spider king in the Beimuluo forest has not been spread. Of course, there is also a possibility that there is no such thing in such a critical situation. People record video. Even so, there are still a few videos on the campus network with high playback volume. The number 1 is named Lu Jiwan, right? His strength is really good. He was able to hunt and kill an A3 level beast by himself. I heard that the school's test result is a genius student. What? Those with such strength are gifted students. I thought they were at least the sons of Tianzhou. Why is the grade determination so strict this year? I remember that students of this level in my class must be the sons of Tianzhou. Maybe it's because of the 5-year freshman assessment of the 100 schools. You may not know that when choosing a tutor, Zhou Yu, the director of the strengthening department, personally invited Lu Jiwan. This is simply too monstrous. You know, in an academy like Imperial Capital Academy where geniuses are everywhere, it is a great honor and something to be proud of for a department head to personally invite you. And it has been many years since the director of Huangdu Academy came to snatch students in person. In a short period of time, Lu Jiwan's name was circulated among all the new and old students, to the point of being miraculous. With the passage of time, more and more videos were uploaded, and many new students also caught everyone's eyes. Not only the videos of Huangdu Academy, but even the videos of other large courtyards gradually appeared in everyone's field of vision. Someone even made a list of freshmen from the 5 great courts. There are only 20 positions on this list, and these 20 people are undoubtedly not carefully selected by everyone. Of course, this list is constantly changing when more videos appear. Except for the small changes in the top 5, the changes in the next 15 are huge. Some were even in the top 10, but then disappeared from the list. You said that another wave of videos was updated today. Will there be any changes in the rankings of Lu Jiwan and Zhang Chaofan? I think this time Zhang Chaofan may surpass Lu Jiwan and take the number 1 throne. Why do you still want to let other schools compare with our school's students? What kind of perverted psychology is this? Didn't I just say this because you asked me? And I'm telling the truth, without any selfishness. Why do you need to get involved in the affairs of the academy? The students are all discussing the ranking of freshmen this time. Although many people say that this is a matter of the student's personal strength and does not involve the college, but many people know very well that if the students of their college are ranked very low, or even no students are on the list, then it is simply a problem for that school. It's a shame. At present, Wangdu Academy is naturally the most on the list, and the Eastern Airlines number 1 military academy is the least. The number 1 military academy of China Eastern Airlines not only has a small number of people on the list, but the only one on the list is still at the bottom of the list, and it looks like it will be squeezed out soon. Sure enough, when they looked at the list today, the student from the 1st Military Academy of China Eastern Airlines had disappeared, and a student named Xu Li replaced him. Xu Li, have you heard of it? There are so many new students, how could I have heard of them all? Isn't there a video over there? Click on it and have a look. In order to make it easier for students to watch, the person who made the leaderboard will place a small link at the far right of the leaderboard. Just click on this small link to see all their videos. Of course, the first one is the video that best represents the student's strength. Seeing that a newcomer was on the list, many people clicked on Xu Li's video. However, unlike other students on the list that opened a series of videos, Xu Li's column only had one video when it was opened. Why is there only one video here? Can this be on the list? I'm afraid it's not for money. Don't make a conclusion yet, let's take a look at what is in this video first. If he can really prove his strength, won't you be slapped in the face? The two turned on the video, and there were 3 people in the video, one of whom seemed to be a female internet celebrity, and this picture was not as clear as the other videos, it was just a screen recording of the live broadcast. Isn't it? There are still such poor picture quality. Is this the point? The point is that someone actually started a live broadcast in Beimuluo Forest, and the freshmen this year are too aggressive. I don't think it's fierce, it's stupid. I thought that I would be able to be unscrupulous after awakening to a good level. I don't know if they are far behind. The few people just opened the video, and seeing this scene caused extreme discomfort. If it wasn't for seeing how Xu Li became the goalkeeper of the list, they would have quit a long time ago. Isn't it just a C-level beast? Which one of the top 19 on the list has not defeated the B level, and there is even an A level? This is just defeating a small C level to be able to make the list. Then my brother can also be on the list. He hunted and killed a C-level beast, although with the help of a group of people. The two were watching the video and thought it was boring at first, but when Xu Li released Queen Medusa, everyone was shocked. Is this the top beast in the SSS class, Medusa? Oh my god, this new student is an SSS level awakener. Why didn't there be any news before? In the video, Medusa's unique attack method and stunning visual attack left a deep impression on everyone watching the video. Although it's just a battle against a C-level beast, everyone knows that even if the opponent is a B-level beast, Medusa can easily deal with it. It's actually Medusa, I obey him. Who said just now that this kid is not worthy of being on the list? Release your strange beast and show me. If it is higher than Medusa, I will consider your kid to be right. The campus network exploded in an instant, and everyone was discussing Xu Li and his beast queen Medusa. And soon, Xu Li's ranking rose rapidly, and did not stop until the 3rd position. And the first is Lu Jiwan, and the second is Zhang Chaofan. It's not that Xu Li's strength is not as good as the two, but that Xu Li's battle data is indeed too little. Compared with Xu Li, who is so talented and powerful with strange beasts, they feel that the strength of Zhang Chaofan and Lu Jiwan can make them understand a little more. In the freshman group of the 5th courtyard, Zhang Chaofan smiled wryly. Group leader Hua Jingwu da Zhang Chaofan. Brother Xu, I knew you would be on the list. At Xu Li. Hua Jingwu da Lu Shanshan. That's right, if the video of fighting against the 8-spear Golden Spider King hadn't been recorded, Xu Li would definitely be number 1 on the list. Huajing Wuhan University Zhou Xiaoyuan, congratulations to Xu. Luo Angshan, 1st Military Academy of China Eastern Airlines. Since when did you Huajing Wuhan University become the dogs of the Imperial Capital Academy, speaking for their school everywhere? You were really a dog's leg and work harder than anyone else. Huajing Wuda Lu Shanshan. Oh my god, I can smell a strong smell of jealousy through the screen. Our Huajing Wuda and Wangdu College have always been friends. Unlike some people, instead of playing lip service here, we should improve ourselves. The strength of the academy, let's see if it can make the list, right? Huajing Wuhan University Zhou Xiaoyuan. They probably searched all the videos, and they didn't find one that could improve the ranking. It seems that it really doesn't work. Even if we want to watch it, they probably won't be able to show it. Song Zizhou of the 1st Military Academy of Eastern Airlines. Group leader, they are speaking eccentrically here, destroying the harmonious atmosphere in the group, shouldn't you take care of it? At Jizu Huajing Wudazong Chaofan. Inside Huajing Wuhan University, Zhang Chaofan looked at the news in the group and silently typed a line of words. Group leader Huajing Wuda Zhang Chaofan, we are all in the same class. We should support each other and help each other. When we meet students who need help, we should help them. For example, help them find videos that can make themselves on the list. Do not stir up a war of words. Group members, Luo Angshan, 1st Military Academy of China Eastern Airlines, quit the group chat. Song Zizhou of the 1st Military Academy of Eastern Airlines, was kicked out of the group chat. In the villa of Wangdu College, Shu Li silently turned on the offline status, and the smell of gunpowder in the group was about to burn into his villa. Seeing that the students were talking about him, and there was a video about fighting against the 8-spear Golden Spider King, Shu Li felt that this matter must not be hidden. It is estimated that similar information will appear on the internet soon. But Shu Li knows a truth, Mu Shu Yu Linfeng will be destroyed, as long as it is not a character that likes to show off. If it is too much attention, it will do more harm than good. In the last life, Shu Li had a deep understanding of the meaning of this sentence through TV dramas, novels, and various examples in real life. This also made Shu Li form a deeper concept, that is, don't be too arrogant in life, you should be more stable and humble in life, and don't be discovered by others, unless you are so strong that you don't need to care about anyone. And Shu Li doesn't think he has such a strong level now. Before Shu Li thinks he is strong enough, he will choose to keep a little whole card, so that he can be more stable. Since the matter is already like this, fortunately, the news of mental strength and physical fitness has not been spread, so let's take one step at a time. No one knows how things will develop until the end. Shu Li lay back on his sofa and began to think of another thing. The class will start tomorrow, but I haven't received the class notice yet, and there is no news from Teacher Zhang. What should I do? These days Shu Li also often browses the campus network. Many freshmen are discussing their own courses. Some say that there are too many courses, and some say that the courses look difficult. But Shu Li didn't receive such notice at all. Could it be because he doesn't have a mentor? Should I ask Lu Jiwan? I don't know if I can get in touch with him. Just when Shu Li was in trouble, a bell rang at the door of the villa. As soon as the door was opened, there was a strange young woman standing at the door. Shu Li, right, come with me to the principal's office. The young woman looked to be in her 20s, tall and slender, with creamy skin, but a frosty face. She looked like a tall and cold beauty. I'm Yang Yuking, the tutor of Imperial Capital College. With that said, Yang Yuking took out his work permit. Normally, the tutors of Imperial College do not need to wear a work permit, but recently a large number of new students have entered the school. In order to prevent people from outside the school from impersonating the tutors in the school requires that the tutors need to bring their work aids with them within half a month. Good mentor. Seeing the work permit, Shu Li cooperated with Yang Yuking to board a sea-level flying beast. When the flying beast was on its back, Shu Li had time to take a good look at this beautiful mentor. During these 5 days, Shu Li also found a lot of news about Yang Yuking on the campus website. This tutor is a celebrity in the school. At the age of only 23, she successfully stayed in the school with the S5 level and became a member of the school tutors. This year is her first year in office. All the boys talked a lot about this beautiful tutor, and there was even a list of the school's beautiful tutor list on the campus website. It was said that this list was specially created for this Yang Yuking. Even if Shu Li doesn't pay attention to these things, he will be forced to receive these news when browsing the campus network, so he will understand a little bit. Unexpectedly, he would meet the legendary beautiful mentor so soon. It really is the beauty of the iceberg. Shu Li admired in her heart. This Yang Yuking did not disappoint those students who liked her. She is indeed a rare beauty with temperament. Since the living area and the teaching area were relatively far apart, and Yang Yuking was not the type that Zhang Chao introduced more actively, the atmosphere between the two was very cold. Bored, Shu Li turned on his phone and began to search for information about the principal of Wangdu College. I don't know if I don't check it, but I really surprised Shu Li after checking it. The dean of the Royal Capital Academy has a lot of background. According to the internet, although the deans of the 5 major courtyards have not announced their specific grades, some people have seen the deans of the 5 major courtyards do it, and people at the scene said that their lowest grade is also S. As for whether it is higher than S, it is unknown. This is the news that the 5 courtyards have not announced to the public, and they are not good at guessing. It's just this news. Shu Li is looking forward to this dean. Since he can be the dean, at least he is not an ordinary S rank. Have unique attainments. But in terms of mental strength, Mr. Luo should be the top existence of this academy, right? What about the principal? Could it be because of physical fitness? The speed of the sea-level flying beast is not very slow, and soon Shu Li and Yang Yuking arrived at the stop near the principal's office and parked the flying beast there. As soon as the two of them flew the beast, they attracted the attention of many people, especially boys. Isn't this Yang Yuking? What? Teacher Yang? Where is Teacher Yang? My God, Teacher Yang is many times more beautiful than the ones uploaded on the internet. Every photo on the internet is an insult to Teacher Yang's appearance. What department is Teacher Yang? I don't know if I can transfer to Teacher Yang's department. Quote. Seeing that everyone's attention was on Yang Yuking, this was beyond Shu Li's expectations. Originally, Shu Li thought it would be troublesome to come out after his video started to spread on the internet, and many people would pay more or less attention to him, but he didn't expect that few people watched him in the end. Almost all eyes were on Yang Yuking. Seeing this, Shu Li was a little relieved. It seems that not many people noticed him, he just got a little more discussion on the internet. The principal's office is on the top floor of Wangdu College. Shu Li followed Yang Yuking to the elevator and sat for several minutes before reaching the top floor. Yang Yuking brought Shu Li to an ordinary door. The principal has already greeted me, you just go in by yourself. Hearing this, Shu Li didn't dare to neglect, knocked on the door twice and walked in. The decoration in the principal's office is very old-fashioned, like a successful person in his 40s or 50s who sees through the world. As soon as Shu Li entered the door, he saw a huge bookshelf against the wall. For some reason, Shu Li suddenly remembered the huge bookshelf in his villa. It seems that the dean also participated in the design of the villa. Shu Li complained in his heart, and continued to look inside. In addition to the most distinctive bookshelf, in front of the bookshelf is a sofa. This sofa is so long that it extends from one side of the wall to the other, like a small bed. At the moment, a few books are randomly placed on the sofa. The book, it looks like the person reading it went somewhere temporarily. Being alone in the dean's office, Shu Li was still a little nervous. You are Shu Li. When Shu Li was looking at the bookshelf, a person suddenly appeared from behind. If he hadn't opened his mouth, Shu Li probably wouldn't have known there was someone behind him. Shu Li swallowed subconsciously, his face turned pale, and he thought, what level is this person? How can he stand behind me so silently? You must know that with Shu Li's mental power, even a person of Luo Lao's level cannot stand behind him completely silently. So this dean, at least has higher spiritual power than Lao Luo. Shu Li never expected that the Imperial Capital Academy would be so crouching, hidden, and dragon. From a small level tester to this mysterious dean, everyone is extremely weird. Sit down, don't be so stiff. The dean casually pushed aside the books on the sofa, found a place to sit down, and made room for Shu Li at the same time. Although I said not to be restrained, how could Shu Li be really not restrained? After all, it was the first time I saw the dean. In this regard, Shu Li silently opened Target Analysis. Target Analysis succeeded. Name, Yu Joshin. Level, SS4. Mental Power, 307. Physical Fitness, 109. He is actually an awakened person of SS4, and his physical fitness and mental strength are not broken, so he can be said to be the strongest among the strong. Now Shu Li understands why a person like Mr. Luo can only be a surveyor in Wangdu Academy, because the dean is also a bit more powerful than him. While Shu Li was still in shock, the dean's voice sounded. Sang Chao has already told me about your matter. Do you have any thoughts about your mentor? As for the matter of tutors, Shu Li really didn't have any idea. He had just entered the Royal Capital Academy and was very unfamiliar with everything here. Instead of letting him choose by himself, it would be better to ask the principal to arrange a suitable one for him. So Shu Li said, I'm not very familiar with the school's tutors, so I wonder if the principal has any suggestions. In fact, it doesn't matter whether it's an S-level tutor or a tutor of any level, Shu Li doesn't care, as long as he learns some theoretical knowledge well, so as not to suffer when encountering these strange beasts in the future. As for the others, Shu Li felt that these mentors might not be able to help him. After all, he might be able to surpass these mentors in a short time. Through this period of time, Shu Li discovered that the students in the school would use some potions and other aids to help them upgrade, and so did their strange beasts. Shu Li is different from them, he can completely use the evolution space to upgrade. As for mental strength and physical fitness, he doesn't have to worry about it, because as long as he hunts and kills the beast, he can use the blood of the beast to upgrade. Even for theoretical knowledge, his target analysis should be more accurate. In this regard, Shu Li felt that the school seemed to have no effect other than providing him with a bigger platform. So Shu Li doesn't care much about what level his mentor is, and what he can teach him. Suggestion. The dean repeated Shu Li's words twice, and then said, Actually, I didn't plan to arrange a tutor for you from the beginning. Shu Li thought he had heard it wrong, and said in astonishment, Dean, what did you say? Seeing Shu Li's surprised look, the dean said calmly, The beast you awakened is the top Medusa queen in the SSS class, and I have also seen your mental strength and physical fitness. It is indeed a rare talent to have such achievements at this age. Needless to say, the dean, Shu Li also knows that he is a talent among talents, and he will be the target of competition by the major colleges when he is released, but does this have anything to do with him not needing to arrange a mentor? Dean, what do you mean? Shu Li has not yet experienced the training of an orthodox awakened school, so he is still very vague about what awakened people need to do in the school. But looking at what the headmaster means now, does he feel that he no longer needs to be taught? Students in our school will be divided into categories based on mental strength, physical fitness, and comprehensive ability, and you are far superior to ordinary people in terms of mental strength, physical fitness, or strange beasts. Speaking of this, the dean took a deep look at Shu Li, somewhat shocked in his heart. Even the dean did not achieve such a strong strength at Shu Li's age when he was young, with a mental strength of 120 and a physical fitness of 76. This is definitely not something ordinary people can do. I've read your information. The family is very ordinary. Although I don't know how you strengthen your physical and mental strength, these are your secrets, so I won't ask you. Those who sit in the position of dean, more or less have a chance when they are young, then they have a prominent family background and have the support of family members. Otherwise, being an awakener is a very expensive profession in the early stage. When you have a certain strength and can use your identity as an awakened person to make money, it's another matter. So after seeing the data measured by Shu Li, the dean determined almost instantly that Shu Li had his secret, or opportunity, to allow him to reach his current strength. Then you mean, Shu Li knew that this was the main point, and it was also the purpose of the dean to come here this time. I will give you the greatest freedom. You can choose to attend the tutor's class or not. No one will stop you. Of course, you can also ask the school's tutors at any time. You are the first priority. This was decided by the dean after a meeting with several department heads in the school, and it was the first time in the history of Royal Capital Academy that the word priority appeared. To put it simply, Shu Li has the highest power in the school besides the dean. This is a great honor for a student. I know that the academy won't teach you for long, and it won't teach you too much, so you don't have to take part in the school's assessment. I will decide your assessment. Royal Capital Academy has monthly assessments, and those who fail to meet the standards will be dismissed directly, so the monthly exam is almost a nightmare for all Royal Capital Academy students. So there's no need for a test. But at the same time, Shu Li also realized that the assessment given by the dean must be very difficult, otherwise he would not have been given so many privileges. Sure enough, the dean took a sip of tea and said, You must have heard about the elite competition of several colleges and universities a year later. I heard a little bit. Shu Li is not just wandering around the campus these days. He knows a little about the school, and naturally he also knows about the elite competition. But isn't that a year from now? Why did the dean bring up this matter at this time? It may be a bit early to tell you now, but this all-elite competition is about how much resources our Imperial Capital Academy can get in the next 5 years. Shu Li wondered, what does this mean? After the assessment of the freshmen of the 100 schools every 5 years, the schools will prepare for the all-elite competition every 5 years, and this all-elite competition will allocate resources to the school according to the school's ranking. The resources of the North region are so in addition to the school, it will be divided up by other trade unions, so we naturally want to get as many limited resources as possible. Seeing the headmaster talking further and further away, Shu Li said, so the assessment you gave me is related to this competition. The principal looked dignified. Yes, as long as you can reach the SSS 4 level before the all-elite competition, and your mental strength rises to 140 points, and your physical fitness reaches 90 points, you can enjoy the things I just said forever during the 4 years of university. That power. As soon as this remark came out, Shu Li's originally heavy mood suddenly became brighter, and he stretched his brows. For ordinary awakened people, after reaching 100 points of mental strength and 60 points of physical fitness, it is very difficult to increase almost every point. So the principal thinks this is a challenge for Shu Li, but Shu Li doesn't think so. As long as he has enough blood, he can upgrade without pressure. The only thing that was more difficult was a SSS 4 level alien beast. Shu Li sighed heavily when he thought of the endless progress bar. Chapter 49 Invitation from Wang Yi. It seems that Shu Li still has to put the special item on the agenda as soon as possible. Only after upgrading the evolution space can his Queen Medusa be upgraded as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Shu Li sighed inwardly, I don't know when I will be able to find the so-called special items. If I haven't found them, I won't be able to upgrade forever. I don't know if I can complete the dean's assessment. Shu Li was a little hesitant about Medusa's upgrade, with a bit of embarrassment on his face. Okay, I will do my best, and work hard to move in the direction you gave me, and try my best to complete your assessment. Seeing Shu Li's cooperation, the dean smiled with satisfaction, nodded in relief, and said, well, I know you are a child with good conduct, and you work hard to make progress, so you won't let me down. As he said that, the dean suddenly remembered something, and suddenly said, it's just right, if you complete the assessment, I will give you a reward on behalf of the college, which will definitely satisfy you. In the Royal Capital Academy, the strong have always been given better allocation of resources. As Shu Li is the highest-ranked student they have recruited since the establishment of the Royal Capital Academy, the school will naturally not be stingy. What's more, the reward promised by the dean himself will naturally be a good thing. In this regard, Shu Li has great expectations for this reward, and at the same time, he is even more stressed. After leaving the principal's office, on the way back, Shu Li was inexplicably depressed, and the instructor Yang Yuqing, who was in charge of sending him back, also noticed this. Is the principal embarrassing you? In Yang Yuqing's eyes, Shu Li is just a student who has just entered the academy. First, he didn't cause any trouble, and second, he didn't have any academic crisis. Li was so embarrassed. Faced with Yang Yuqing's question, Shu Li was taken aback. This iceberg beauty would even take the initiative to ask him. The sun really came out from the west. It's not too difficult, it's just that I have changed the assessment method. If I work hard, I should still be able to do it. Shu Li knew that the assessment was not in a hurry, and he didn't expect Yang Yuqing to help him, so he didn't say much. After hearing the answer, Yang Yuqing simply said, yes, and the two of them fell into silence again. After sending Shu Li back to the villa, Yang Yuqing didn't even get off the flying beast, and left the villa area directly, as if he had other things to do. Shu Li didn't take it to heart either. As soon as he entered the villa, his cell phone, which had been quiet for a long time, rang unexpectedly. He was contacted by a relatively unfamiliar number. Shu Li had added the contact information of many people on the outskirts of Beimuluo Forest before. So looking at the number on the screen, Shu Li hesitated and connected. According to Zhang Chao and Lu Jiwan's previous explanations, their freshmen this year are going to jointly resist the old students, so it is better to maintain a little relationship at the beginning. After connecting, before Shu Li could say, hello, an urgent voice came from the other side of the phone. Thank goodness, Shu Li, you finally picked it up. With an unfamiliar voice and an unfamiliar number, Shu Li could only politely say, "Are you a classmate?" The voice on the other side of the phone paused for a moment, then rang again. "I am a student of the Imperial Capital Academy like you. We met in Beimuluo Forest before, and I also introduced our academy and…" Quote. Speaking of this, Shu Li also remembered that this is the unlucky second batch of people who entered the Nether Fissure and finally escaped by luck. Their name seems to be Dong Sheng. "Are you classmate Dong?" An excited voice sounded from the other side of the phone. "That's great, classmate Shu, you still remember me. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm calling this time to tell you something urgent. Classmate Lu is in trouble now. I think you are the only one who can help." Shu Li heard the urgency of the matter, and quickly said, "What happened? Please speak slowly." Dong Sheng tried his best to calm down his emotions, and said, "The thing is like this. Originally, at the call of Brother Lu, several freshmen in our intensive department conducted a closed training session during this period in order to keep up with the daily courses of the intensive department. Exercising, today is the day we leave customs, but we did not expect to meet people from the Wangyi Club. They had a conflict with us because of the venue, saying that our freshmen deliberately occupied the venue, and then they didn't know what they said. They got into a fight. I think the situation is not good. They might fight, so I contacted you, classmate Shu." Shu Li was surprised. "I don't think this is a complaint that you have taken over the scene, but that you deliberately want to find fault. Did you offend someone?" Whoever told this, no one believed that the conflict was caused by the venue. The Imperial Capital Academy has clearly stipulated that the use of the training venue needs to be approved by the instructor and a certain fee must be paid, so Lu Jiwan and the others must have a suitable reason to be able to use it until now. The people from the Wangyi Club came to make trouble, obviously not because of the venue. On the opposite side, Dong Sheng saw that his words were dispelled by Shu Li, so he had no choice but to say, "Actually, when we are out of the venue, we are going to retest our physical fitness and mental strength to see if we have made any progress. Is there any progress during this time?" After the measurement, some students were too shy and said a few words, and then they were overheard by the members of the Wangyi Society, who wanted to lure Lu Jiwan into Wangyi. But Brother Lu refused. Now a group of people are confronting each other outside. The situation is very bad. I think if Brother Lu refuses to agree, we will probably do something today. Shu Li was a little surprised after hearing this. Wangyi is one of the largest associations in the Imperial Capital Academy. It is difficult for many students to enter. It is said that only strong people who are recognized by them can have the opportunity to enter. How could Lu Jiwan refuse? After hearing Shu Li's question, Dong Sheng explained, "Brother Shu, this is what you don't know. Although Wangyi is the largest society, the hierarchy of Wangyi is very strict. If our freshmen enter, they will be suppressed 100% and have to pay membership fees, so Brother Lu is naturally unwilling. Not only that, the Wangyi Club also stipulates that students who join are not allowed to quit." "What are you talking about? It's really a disaster. If we knew it, we wouldn't be embarrassed." Having said that, Shu Li understood it, and guessed in his heart that Lu Jiwan might have already had his favorite club, and Wangyi was not his first choice. Shu Li took a deep breath and said, "I'll be right there." It seems that Shu Li still has to put the special item on the agenda as soon as possible. Only after upgrading the evolution space can his Queen Medusa be upgraded as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Shu Li sighed inwardly, "I don't know when I will be able to find the so-called special items. If I haven't found them, I won't be able to upgrade forever. I don't know if I can complete the Dean's assessment." Shu Li was a little hesitant about Medusa's upgrade, with a bit of embarrassment on his face. "Okay, I will do my best, and work hard to move in the direction you gave me, and try my best to complete your assessment." Seeing Shu Li's cooperation, the Dean smiled with satisfaction, nodded in relief, and said, "Well, I know you are a child with good conduct, and you work hard to make progress, so you won't let me down." As he said that, the Dean suddenly remembered something, and suddenly said, "It's just right, if you complete the assessment, I will give you a reward on behalf of the college, which will definitely satisfy you. In the Royal Capital Academy, the strong have always been given better allocation of resources. As Shu Li is the highest-ranked student they have recruited since the establishment of the Royal Capital Academy, the school will naturally not be stingy. What's more, the reward promised by the dean himself will naturally be a good thing. In this regard, Shu Li has great expectations for this reward, and at the same time, he is even more stressed. After leaving the principal's office, on the way back, Shu Li was inexplicably depressed, and the instructor Yang Yuqing, who was in charge of sending him back, also noticed this. Is the principal embarrassing you? In Yang Yuqing's eyes, Shu Li is just a student who has just entered the academy. First, he didn't cause any trouble, and second, he didn't have any academic crisis. Li was so embarrassed. Faced with Yang Yuqing's question, Shu Li was taken aback. This iceberg beauty would even take the initiative to ask him. The sun really came out from the west. It's not too difficult, it's just that I have changed the assessment method. If I work hard, I should still be able to do it. Shu Li knew that the assessment was not in a hurry, and he didn't expect Yang Yuqing to help him, so he didn't say much. After hearing the answer, Yang Yuqing simply said, yes, and the two of them fell into silence again. After sending Shu Li back to the villa, Yang Yuqing didn't even get off the flying beast, and left the villa area directly, as if he had other things to do. Shu Li didn't take it to heart either. As soon as he entered the villa, his cell phone, which had been quiet for a long time, rang unexpectedly. He was contacted by a relatively unfamiliar number. Shu Li had added the contact information of many people on the outskirts of Beimuluo Forest before. So looking at the number on the screen, Shu Li hesitated and connected. According to Zhang Chao and Lu Jiwan's previous explanations, their freshmen this year are going to jointly resist the old students, so it is better to maintain a little relationship at the beginning. After connecting, before Shu Li could say, hello, an urgent voice came from the other side of the phone. Thank goodness, Shu Li, you finally picked it up. With an unfamiliar voice and an unfamiliar number, Shu Li could only politely say, are you a classmate? The voice on the other side of the phone paused for a moment, then rang again. I am a student of the Imperial Capital Academy like you. We met in Beimuluo Forest before, and I also introduced our academy and... Quote. Speaking of this, Shu Li also remembered that this is the unlucky second batch of people who entered the Nether Fissure and finally escaped by luck. Their name seems to be Dong Sheng. Are you classmate Dong? An excited voice sounded from the other side of the phone. That's great. Classmate Shu, you still remember me. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm calling this time to tell you something urgent. Classmate Lu is in trouble now. I think you are the only one who can help. Shu Li heard the urgency of the matter, and quickly said, what happened? Please speak slowly. Dong Sheng tried his best to calm down his emotions, and said, the thing is like this. Originally, at the call of Brother Lu, several freshmen in our intensive department conducted a closed training session during this period in order to keep up with the daily courses of the intensive department. Exercising, today is the day we leave customs, but we did not expect to meet people from the Wangyi Club. They had a conflict with us because of the venue, saying that our freshmen deliberately occupied the venue, and then they didn't know what they said. They got into a fight. I think the situation is not good. They might fight, so I contacted you, classmate Shu. Shu Li was surprised. I don't think this is a complaint that you have taken over the scene, but that you deliberately want to find fault. Did you offend someone? Whoever told this, no one believed that the conflict was caused by the venue. The Imperial Capital Academy has clearly stipulated that the use of the training venue needs to be approved by the instructor and a certain fee must be paid, so Lu Jiwan and the others must have a suitable reason to be able to use it until now. The people from the Wangyi Club came to make trouble, obviously not because of the venue. On the opposite side, Dong Sheng saw that his words were dispelled by Shu Li, so he had no choice but to say, actually, when we are out of the venue, we are going to retest our physical fitness and mental strength to see if we have made any progress. Is there any progress during this time? After the measurement, some students were too shy and said a few words, and then they were overheard by the members of the Wangyi Society, who wanted to lure Lu Jiwan into Wangyi. But Brother Lu refused. Now a group of people are confronting each other outside. The situation is very bad. I think if Brother Lu refuses to agree, we will probably do something today. Shu Li was a little surprised after hearing this. Wangyi is one of the largest associations in the Imperial Capital Academy. It is difficult for many students to enter. It is said that only strong people who are recognized by them can have the opportunity to enter. How could Lu Jiwan refuse? After hearing Shu Li's question, Dong Sheng explained, Brother Shu, this is what you don't know. Although Wang Yi is the largest society, the hierarchy of Wang Yi is very strict. If our freshmen enter, they will be suppressed 100% and have to pay membership fees, so Brother Lu is naturally unwilling. Not only that, the Wang Yi Club also stipulates that students who join are not allowed to quit. What are you talking about? It's really a disaster. If we knew it, we wouldn't be embarrassed. Having said that, Shu Li understood it, and guessed in his heart that Lu Jiwan might have already had his favorite club, and Wang Yi was not his first choice. Shu Li took a deep breath and said, I'll be right there. On the way to the registration office, Shu Li learned about the associations of Wangdu College through Dong Sheng's words and some information on the internet. In Wangdu College, the clubs are all students can apply for and then set up. But after all, the benefits of the new clubs are not as good as those of the old clubs. No matter what it is, the old clubs have more advantages. Poach away, wait for reasons to close. In recent years, except for one or two new associations that barely survive, the others are old associations that have been established for many years. Wang Yi is one of them. The clubs at the beginning were for the benefit of the students, but now most of the clubs are old students, or the high-level members of the club are seeking benefits for themselves, squeezing the freshmen or some low-level members, and the resources that these bottom-level members get it's tiny, almost what's left of them. And this is not bad. There are even some associations that will use the period of time when the freshmen enter the school to trick the freshmen into their associations, and then squeeze the limited resources of the freshmen. This year Shu Li and the others participated in the freshman assessment of the 100 schools. In the eyes of these old students, they are undoubtedly the fat sheep among the fat sheep. Looking at the information on the internet, there are already many students complaining on the internet, saying that they have been cheated by a certain society. It's really despicable, Shu Li cursed in a low voice, and quickly came to the outside of the registration office. In order not to disturb the normal order, these people found a place where there were relatively few people and gathered together. And Lu Jiwan doesn't seem to be considered weak now. There are still quite a few people. Not only are they called Shu Li, but they seem to have contacted all the freshmen who can be contacted. At first glance, there are quite a lot of people on Lu Jiwan's side. If you don't pay attention, you may think that Lu Jiwan is the leader, looking for trouble for these old students. Brother Shu, you are here, let's go over quickly. Dong Sheng recognized Shu Li's appearance, saw Shu Li from a distance, and ran over there quickly. Seeing such a big posture, Shu Li was a little puzzled. It's come to this point, the school still doesn't care. There are so many associations in the college, and there will be conflicts more or less. The college can't manage so many if it wants to. The instructors are all powerful masters. How can it be possible to come forward for this little conflict among our students? Most of them we solve it ourselves. Of course, in most cases, it is the result of the failure of the freshmen. Hearing this, Shu Li frowned deeply. It seems that the freshmen are indeed at a disadvantage. Under such circumstances, they need to unite to fight against these old students who are more familiar with the school rules than they are. At the same time, Shu Li also became more aware that since Lu Jiwan and the others asked him for help when they were away from home, he naturally couldn't refuse. Shu Li helped them this time, and it might be useful to them in the future. The so-called many friends have one more retreat, that's it. When Dong Sheng took Shu Li over, he didn't know what conflict was going on between Huang Yi and Lu Jiwan, and the two parties suddenly fought. But Lu Jiwan, who was at the S level, was beaten out without any power to fight back. He was shot out like a soft sponge. How could this be? Shu Li looked at Lu Jiwan's miserable situation when he was beaten out, and his face changed. Shu Li knew Lu Jiwan's strength. They had fought side by side, and Lu Jiwan's qualities were not bad. Hit it hard. How strong should the person who hit him be? Shu Li's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly opened Target Analysis. Target Analysis succeeded. Name: Yan Kanzun. Grade: A5. Spiritual Power: 101. Physical Fitness: 80. This Yan Kanzun's alien beast level is only A5. It can be said that it can only be regarded as excellent in the Royal Capital Academy, but it is not top-notch. The total number of people is at least a dozen, so the A-level ones are not considered the top of the pyramid. But after careful analysis, this Yan Kanzun's comprehensive strength is very strong. His mental strength has actually exceeded 100, and his physical fitness is even higher than Shu Li's, and even much higher than Lu Jiwan's. If there is a dispute within the Royal Capital Academy, it is not allowed to release the beast, and the students can only use mental power or fight with each other. If the strange beast is released, it will alarm the instructors of the academy, and both parties will be punished, and in serious cases, they will even be persuaded to leave. So no one would be so stupid as to use a strange beast. In a duel, everyone tacitly used only mental power and physical skills. At this moment, Shu Li probably knew why these old men dared to be so arrogant. After all, they came a long time earlier than the freshmen of Lu Jiwan's class. Through strengthening potions, they can enhance their mental strength and physical fitness, so in terms of physical fitness and mental strength, they far surpass most of the freshmen. Yes to all freshmen. No wonder freshmen are suppressed without any power to fight back. Shu Li cursed secretly, and when he followed Dong Sheng to the outside of the crowd, the two sides had already started to fight thoroughly. The freshmen were quickly beaten to pieces, and Lu Jiwan, as the leader of this class, was naturally the one who was targeted the most. Of course, in addition to these, Shu Li also found some individual freshmen. They retreated silently when they saw this, did not join in, and some just slipped away. In this regard, Shu Li was very complicated. If the day of the freshman challenge really came, and these students were so hesitant, then they would lose. But now is not the time to think about these things. When Shu Li followed Dong Sheng, the two sides had already fought the first round, and the new business suffered a disastrous defeat as expected. Yan Kanzun, headed by the old students, looked contemptuously at Lu Jiwan, who was barely able to stand up with the support of the students, and said with a smile, "I will give you another chance, either join our Wang Yi or give away the rewards you received as freshmen today. All stay." Speaking of this, Yan Kanzun and a few old students looked at each other, and the smile in their eyes deepened. "I remember that you have participated in the freshman assessment of hundreds of schools this year, right? It seems that your level is not very high. If you are more sensible, say maybe we can save some resources for you." Hearing what Yan Kanzun said, Lu Jiwan did not hesitate at all, but decisively refused. Dream. Lu Jiwan is very clear, no matter whether he joins Wang Yi or not, his resources will be deprived by them, so he has to put on a tough attitude now. No matter what, he will not hand over his resources of. Chapter 51. Now the last bit of dignity of their newborns can never be deprived again. So even if the result is the same, Lu Jiwan will choose to persevere until the last moment. You old students are really lawless. The Brilliant Wing Society, right? Believe it or not, I will tell the instructor and let them punish you. A freshman was beaten with a bruised nose and a swollen face. He looked at Yan Kanzun and the others and spoke viciously. However, his words did not have any effect. Instead he was ridiculed. "Oh, classmate, how old are you, and you still play the trick of going to your mother when you get hit? Just go and sue. Look at your tutor, will it come?" The tutors of the Royal Academy want to save face. It is really embarrassing to ask the tutor to help him get back when his student was beaten outside because of his lack of strength. Hearing Yan Kanzun's words, the aggrieved students realized that it was useless to seek a mentor. If it was useful, they would not attack them so brazenly. At this point, the students all lowered their heads and became desperate. Seeing this, Yan Kanzun sneered, "It looks like there are about 20 of you, right? We only have 6 here, and 20 of you beat 6 of us, and we beat us to the ground in the end. You still feel that you are qualified to speak? Indeed, Huang Yi only came here this time with 6 people. If everyone came, wouldn't it be able to knock down all the freshmen?" Yan Kanzun looked at these struggling freshmen, especially when he saw Lu Jiwan, and felt that he had seen the funniest joke in the world. If you want to overestimate yourself, you have to have a limit. If you exceed this limit, then stupid. Facing such humiliating words, the veins on Lu Jiwan's forehead bulged, his face was livid, and his eyes were bloodshot. But even so, Lu Jiwan couldn't say a word now, because just now, this Yan Kanzun punched him in the chest. Lu Jiwan only felt a salty taste in his throat, and a mouthful of blood stuck in his throat. If he spoke now, he would spit out a mouthful of black blood. Yan Kanzun came in front of Lu Jiwan, showing displeasure. "Boy, I think you are a bit talented, so I invited you to our Wang Yi. You'd better cooperate. pay the membership fee, and then join us. Maybe wait in 2 or 3 years, we graduated and left, and you can also become a boss. Huh. After finishing speaking, Yan Kanzun and his members laughed loudly. After all, our Wangyi only recruits students with mental strength above 90 and physical fitness above 55. As for you. Yan Kanzun looked at Lu Jiwan a few times as if looking at the goods, and said, the mental strength is barely up to the standard, but the physical fitness is really not good. If it weren't for the fact that your strange beast is not bad, do you think we will accept you? The other party's words fell into Lu Jiwan's ears word by word, and Lu Jiwan, who was originally the son of a genius, was insulted by him so much. He clenched his fists and his eyes were full of anger. Their freshmen are improving their morale. But Lu Jiwan is very clear, he doesn't have this strength now, and he can't even protect himself, so how can he represent the new students against the old students? After all, it is not strong enough. If he is here, maybe he can defeat these old students and regain some face for their new students. The desperate Lu Jiwan thought of a person, that is Shu Li. Didn't Dong Sheng contact Shu Li? Why hasn't Shu Li arrived yet? Lu Jiwan thought something bad was going on in his heart, and looked at the freshman group, wanting to see if Dong Sheng brought Shu Li over. Maybe things would change if Shu Li came over. But unfortunately, now he was surrounded by a group of freshmen, and he couldn't see the scene outside the crowd at all, and naturally he couldn't see Shu Li who was at the outermost edge. A trace of disappointment flashed across his eyes, and Lu Jiwan lowered his head in disappointment. And Yan Kanzun also saw all this in his eyes, and smiled dumbly. What's the matter? Could it be that you still hope that someone will come to save you? Not to mention the freshmen you were present, even if there are 10 more, they won't be ours, opponent. Don't bully young people and be poor. Just give me another year or 2, and we will definitely get back the justice of today and make you kneel down and apologize. Some freshmen couldn't bear the humiliation and shouted loudly. Behind the crowd, Shu Li shook his head listening to the man's words. After all, they are too naive. If they don't find their place at this time, the resources of the new students will be squeezed, and their growth rate will be slower. Don't say give them a year or 2, even if it is 10 or 8 years, it will be too late. Not necessarily be able to beat them. Huang Yi's move this time completely hindered the development of this freshman class. It has shaken their foundation and made the freshmen miss the best opportunity to grow up. This is going to ruin this class of students. An angry look also flashed in Shu Li's eyes. Obviously, Yan Kanzun had completely pissed him off. Hee, 1 or 2 years. It's really shameless. Don't say you beat us. As long as the strongest among you can hurt the weakest among us, then you win. Having said that, Yan Kanzun finally lost his patience and looked at Lu Jiwan impatiently. I'll give you one last chance. Do you want to choose to join our Wangyi? Lu Jiwan's lips trembled, and he was about to refuse when a familiar voice sounded from outside the crowd. You don't have to wait a year or 2, we can beat you to the ground right now. Outside the crowd, Dong Sheng was startled by Shu Li who spoke suddenly. He turned his head and looked over. Shu Li just finished drinking a bottle of medicine that looked like blood. It was just a bottle of blood, but it made Dong Sheng feel pressured. What exactly is this? Dong Sheng was startled, and before he came, he thought more anxiously, and saw Shu Li had already walked out. What Shu Li drank was the blood of the 8-spear Golden Spider King. With the comparison, Shu Li found that his physical fitness was a little weaker than this Yan Kanzun. To be conservative, Shu Li finally drank the blood of his precious 8-spear Golden Spider King. With this blood, Shu Li's spiritual power has reached 150 points at this moment. A steady stream of mental power began to surge in his body, and he couldn't wait to rush out and give these people a painful blow. This time, he will fight the most beautiful battle on behalf of the freshmen of the school. Let them see the old students. The new students are not easy to mess with. As Shu Li approached, everyone, especially the old students, felt that what came was not a freshman, but a mountain gradually pressing on them, making them breathless. Shu Li got closer and closer, and their faces became paler and paler. The second Shu Li walked up to Lu Jiwan, Yan Kanzun was punched out by the spiritual force. With a poof, Yan Kanzun who fell on the ground spat out a mouthful of blood. Even with Yan Kanzun's physical fitness, he couldn't block Shu Li's blow. However, many people thought that Shu Li was a sneak attack, this guy is also a freshman. How could he do a sneak attack? Where did he sneak attack? Didn't he just walk over in a fair manner, and then Yan Kanzun flew out? Yeah, how did he do it? It looks like he didn't do anything at all. The onlookers were dumbfounded, and at the same time, someone recognized Shu Li. Isn't this the third one on the list just today? It seems to be called Shu Li. His alien beast is the SSS level Medusa. No wonder it's so strong, it turned out to be an SSS level awakener. After all, SSS level awakened people are not on the same level as most awakened people. For most awakened people, SSS level people are like a ceiling, so they think it is only natural that Shu Li is so strong. Could it be that he used spiritual power just now? Queen Medusa is a beast of the spiritual system. I think it must be because of this that he was able to defeat Yan Kanzun with one blow. It must be spiritual power. Didn't you feel the spiritual power emanating from him when he walked over just now? I was so scared that I broke out in a cold sweat. Even if you say so, how strong should the mental power be to be able to beat people out? Isn't his mental power already over 100? Everyone looked at Shu Li. It seems that after today's battle, Shu Li's performance will rise. It is very likely that he will go from third in the list to second in the list, or even the first. At this moment, Lu Jiwan looked at Shu Li, who was standing beside him, and saw that he was tall and straight, and he was not afraid of Yan Kanzun, who was far superior in mental strength and physical fitness. Lu Jiwan smiled wryly, and thought, sure enough, if it was him, would he be able to easily defeat these old students who are so terrifying to him? At this moment, Lu Jiwan felt the gap in strength, and also felt that the current Shu Li was different from the Shu Li in the Beimuluo forest. His spiritual power must be more than 120 points. You, who are you? Yan Kanzun, who was hit on the ground unexpectedly, finally recovered, and quickly got up from the ground, panting heavily, looking embarrassed. Who are you? Why did you sneak up on me? However, the 5 members of Wang Yi who came with Yan Kanzun had their muscles tensed all over their bodies. Looking at Shu Li, who was so close, they all looked like they were facing a formidable enemy. The feeling of oppression that Shu Li gave them just now is still there, and their spiritual power is not as strong as Yan Kanzun's, so they can clearly understand how terrifying this Shu Li's spiritual power is. Sneak attack, Shu Li sneered, and looked at Yan Kanzun, who had just got up. I walked up to you in an open and above-board manner. I didn't make a move. You fell down by yourself. What does it have to do with me? Faced with Yan Kanzun's questioning, Shu Li spread his hands, as if he had nothing to do with me. Do you think I'm a fool? Wasn't it the mental power you used just now? Tell me, how much is your mental power? If it's too much, I don't care about you attacking me. As long as you keep all your resources for this month, then ask me to let you join Wang Yi, and I will spare your life. Yan Kanzun is not a fool. He knows that Shu Li is not weak, but because he is a member of the Wang Yi club, many people have to sell him face, and there are 6 of them now. Could it be that they can't beat Shu Li alone? It's just that what Yan Kanzun didn't know was that the other 5 members who came with him were already pale. After Shu Li knew how to use his mental power, he has been able to use his mental power proficiently, just like using his own hands and feet, and can manipulate it flexibly, so Shu Li can only gather the powerful mental power to one point, then attack specific people. Save my life. I don't think it's clear who will spare whose life. You said just now that if one of us hurts you, it will be considered as our victory, isn't it? As soon as this remark came out, the scene was silent, and then the freshman exclaimed. Brother Shu is amazing. Brother Shu bravely rushed forward. Come on, Brother Shu, let these defiant old students see that our freshmen are also human. Who said just now that there is no one among the freshmen? Isn't my brother Shu a human? The morale of the freshmen was greatly shaken. The situation changed in an instant, and the positions of the 2 parties were completely reversed. When all the freshmen were ecstatic, Lu Jiwan also looked at Shu Li in shock. This Shu Li was too strong. These old students are the ones with the most unsightly faces right now. Boy, don't be too arrogant. Isn't it just that you have a little more mental power? Why are you pretending here? If you dare to provoke us, our Wang Yi people will hit you once they see you. Poof. While talking, Yan Kanzun procrastinated for time, wanting to launch a sneak attack when Shu Li was not paying attention, because at Shu Li's age, mental strength is so high, but physical fitness is not necessarily so. I didn't expect that he hadn't found it yet. By chance, Shu Li discovered his thoughts, and directly used his mental power to blow him out. The huge sense of oppression is like a huge hand, directly piercing Yan Kanzun's flesh, pinching Yan Kanzun's heart. The viscera seemed to have been ruthlessly kneaded, which made Yan Kanzun feel sick and want to vomit. Seeing that Yan Kanzun was finally quiet, Shu Li said lightly, "I'll ask you again, I'll give you one last chance, shall I?" This time, not only Yan Kanzun and his companions, but also all the freshmen present and some students from other grades who were watching showed shocked expressions. Although Shu Li's voice is not loud, he has integrated spiritual power into it, and expanded the spiritual power around him. Now everyone can feel the spiritual coercion from him. Everyone held their breath and focused, not even daring to blink twice, and looked at Shu Li in unison. They are just passers-by. Yan Kanzun, who is questioned by Shu Li now, feels 100 times more mental pressure. Soon, Yan Kanzun, who was persevering so hard, was sweating profusely, and his face was pale. Finally, he couldn't help it anymore and said, "Yes, that's what I said just now." After admitting it, Yan Kanzun obviously felt that the pressure on his body was lightened. In addition to the hatred at the beginning, Yan Kanzun looked at Shu Li with more fear now. This freshman, he is giving them a group of old students, as well as all the students of the Imperial Capital Academy. Indeed, Shu Li wants to tell all the students here that their freshmen are not easy to mess with. Seeing that Yan Kanzun admitted, Shu Li continued to speak, and the words of mental coercion rang in everyone's head. "You want to forcibly recruit freshmen to join your Wangyao. I have no control over that, and I also have no control if you want to rob freshmen of their resources." Shu Li's voice was not loud, but with a three-pointed dignity. "But you insulted all the freshmen of our year, trampled on our dignity, and tried to use violence to make us submit. You want to provoke the old and new students' conflict. If you want to fight, 1 month later, in the freshman challenge, I will play slowly with you." Every word Shu Li said was like a knife piercing Yan Kanzun's heart. Every time he heard a word, Yan Kanzun's heart beat a little faster, so much so that he was still a little bit nervous when he looked at Shu Li, be terrified. But now that so many people are watching, Yan Kanzun insisted, "Boy, this matter is about our Huang Yi and his Lu Jiwan, and has nothing to do with you. If you come up with this idea, then we will have a fair one-on-one confrontation. Otherwise, even if you were lucky enough to win this time, in the future when our Wangyao people see you freshmen, they will beat you once every time they see you. I don't believe that you can come out to save them every time." "Not my business." Shu Li pursed his lips and looked at Lu Jiwan next to him. Feeling Shu Li's gaze, Lu Jiwan smiled miserably, with an expression ready to die bravely. "It's okay, thank you for helping us this time and restoring the dignity of the new students, but after all, these old students are more powerful than us and stronger than us. We are strong. I will take the loss today, but thank you for this. I, Lu Jiwan, recognize you as a brother from the bottom of my heart." By this time, everyone is aware of the pros and cons. One is to sacrifice Lu Jiwan alone in exchange for everyone's safety. Everyone will act as if nothing happened and live in peace. The other is that Shu Li wants to fight Yan Kanzun to the death. In the end, no matter whether they win or lose, their new students have formed a bond with the old students. In the future, the old students whose overall strength can crush the new students will definitely not let these new students in the campus. It's better inside. Not far from the crowd, Yang Yuking watched all this quietly. As a mentor, she did not step forward to stop her at all. She also wants to see the strength of the SSS level awakener. For Yang Yuking, the level above S level has always been a hurdle, because when she was a student, many instructors once said that if Yang Yuking is an awakened person above S level, she must be a person who can stand on her own in the future, the existence that changes the destiny of mankind. She didn't understand it at that time, and she didn't understand the truth until she reached the peak state of S level, but it was too late to regret it now. At the moment of awakening to S level, her future and upper limit had already been determined. But now, she saw the SSS level awakener, so Yang Yuking must take a look at what the instructor said about the SSS level awakener with no upper limit for growth. In the crowd, Shu Li didn't know that he was being watched. At this moment, he was looking at Lu Jiwan seriously. Although he and Lu Jiwan haven't known each other for a long time, from the Beimuluo forest, this person did not leave his companions to escape, bravely fought against the 8-spear Golden Spider King with him, helped the students retreat, and then went to the imperial capital. On the way, this person helped him understand a lot of knowledge that he didn't know. It's fine if Shu Li didn't know about this incident, but since he knew it, came to the scene, and stood up again, he has no reason to turn a blind eye now, seeing Lu Jiwan being insulted by the old man here alone. And this time it's about the majesty of the new students. No matter what angle you look at, Shu Li can't leave him here alone. Brothers, what I'm going to do next may have a serious impact on our school life in the future. If you don't want to be involved in it, you can leave now. If you are not afraid, then I will recognize you as a brother. We stay together and let them see our freshmen's determination. The freshman's blood boiled instantly. We are not afraid. We are afraid that it is our grandson. At most, I will be beaten up. I would rather be beaten standing up than wagging my tail at them. Yes, Brother Shu, we stand with you. Brother Lu, we won't abandon you. Our new students are all one. Let them take a good look at them. Our new students are not easy to mess with. After listening to Shu Li's words, the freshmen became excited, united as one, and fought against the old students. Shu Li looked at Lu Jiwan. Look, none of our freshmen are cowards who will abandon their brothers. Don't worry, we will not abandon you. Similarly, our freshmen are not afraid of fighting. Yes, our freshmen are not afraid of battle. You come as many as you like. At worst, go back and lie down for 10 days and 8 months, and then we will fight again. On the 6th day after the new students entered the school, the voices of the new students resounded throughout the teaching area of the Royal Capital Academy. Lu Jiwan's eyes turned red. Even a strong man like him was infected by everyone. Okay, then let's fight. As soon as Shu Li finished speaking, his figure disappeared in place, and his whole body was shot out like a small cannonball. This time, Shu Li went straight to the target, the backbone of the 6, Yan Kanzun. Compared with Shu Li's mental strength, his physical fitness is indeed not eye-catching, but his physical fitness has also reached 76. This is an existence far superior to Lu Jiwan, and compared to Yan Kanzun, who has a physical fitness of 80, it is only 4 points lower. Yan Kanzun, who has withstood Shu Li's wave of mental attacks, can't use 80 points of physical fitness now, so this is why Shu Li can rush to fight Yan Kanzun so confidently. I'll go. He intends to fight hand to hand. Isn't he mentally strong? It's so difficult that he has good physical fitness. But no matter how good he is, Yan Kanzun's physical fitness has reached 80 points. Except for those monster-level students, he is considered the best among us, right? Can Shu Li, a freshman, beat him? The students from other grades passing by were shocked and felt that Shu Li was a little bit over his control. Maybe his mental strength was a little stronger, but his physical fitness was definitely not that high. Yan Kanzun had the same thought as everyone else. When he saw Shu Li rushing over, he waved his arms and prepared to fight. Dare to fight me hand to hand. Kid, I'm afraid you're going to break here today. A smile rose from the corner of Shu Li's mouth. In the next second, Shu Li mobilized all the strength in his body, and his torso bones reduced him a lot of time to accumulate energy. Soon, he struck out with a heavy punch, and Yan Kanzun was punched straight out. The whole person collapsed on the ground like a dead dog, unable to get up again. The audience was silent, and this was the effect Shu Li wanted. He had to do his best to give Yan Kanzun a beautiful blow, so that Yan Kanzun could no longer stand up, and let everyone know that the freshmen are not easy to mess with. Come on, let's go too. The freshmen were moved by Shu Li, and immediately rushed to several other members of Wang Yi. The 5 members of Wang Yi who came with Yan Kanzun didn't expect that they would be besieged by a group of freshmen, and they recovered quickly after being startled. A group of freshmen still want to attack us, let alone 20, even 40 will hardly hurt us. Although the physical fitness and mental strength of these senior students are not as good as Yan Kanzun's, they are not something that the mere 20 freshmen can handle. Just forget about that Shu Li. Are these freshmen really good? I think they are just a bunch of rookies. If they go up against Wang Yao's, I'm afraid they will suffer a lot. Many students onlookers were not optimistic about the new students, thinking that they would definitely fail. But unexpectedly, the old students were defeated by the freshmen. You are cheating. You have the ability to take back your mental power. One of the old students was directly defeated by a freshman whose physical fitness and mental strength were much lower than his. His face was full of dissatisfaction and he stared at Shu Li with resentment. Obviously, Shu Li used a mental attack on them old students, so the freshman won so smoothly. Although, this mental power can also be used as a group attack weapon. I looked at Zan. I heard that you can perceive your own mental power only if your mental power is above 100, and you can carry out mental attacks if your mental power is higher than that. But I have never heard of someone whose mental power can control several people in a large area. How strong is it? I don't know how high it is. Anyway, the last time I saw a person with such a high mental power, it was during the test that Mr. Luo accidentally emitted a little mental power. Just that little bit made me feel so uncomfortable that I almost vomited blood. Surprised looks appeared in the eyes of the students, and they looked at Shu Li with a look of shock. It seems that there is a guy who is not easy to mess with this year's freshman. Capture the thief first and capture the king, I don't want to destroy you. An old student was entangled and beaten by a group of freshmen, his face was full of anger, and suddenly, a blue pattern lit up on his arm. No, he released a strange beast. Everyone, stay away from him. However, it was too late to say this, and a python with a black body appeared in everyone's sight. It's a B5 level green python with flower arms. Everyone, disperse quickly to avoid being affected. Everyone retreated, and the old man's flower-armed green python also unimpeded, and rushed straight to Shu Li's side. Obviously, the king he said to capture the thief first was Shu Li. Brother Shu, run. This kid is cheating. Run, Brother Shu, this kid has released a strange beast. However, time was running out, and everyone could only see Shu Li turning around slowly from a distance, as if he had just discovered the green python with flower arms. The freshmen couldn't bear it, and subconsciously closed their eyes, and some even cried out, Brother Shu, please don't worry. Now only the old man who released the flower-armed green python showed a distorted smile on his face. How dare you challenge our old man's majesty, kill him for me. Even if he was an awakened person, his physical body couldn't withstand the blow of the beast, so many people thought that Shu Li would be seriously injured if he didn't die. Not far away, Yang Yuking squinted her eyes, only her S-level could feel Shu Li's sullenness, it seemed that she didn't need to rescue her, this kid still had some tricks. Sure enough, just when the flower-armed green python was about to hit Shu Li, there was a puff, and the ferocious snake exploded on the spot, and the blood splashed all over Shu Li and the people around him. A mere B-level blue python with flower arms wants to enter my body, it's really beyond my control. Shu Li glanced at the python on the ground indifferently, and withdrew his mental power. Ah, my green python, my green python. The old student who used the flower-armed green python, at the second the flower-armed green python burst open, his arm also began to explode, and the flesh and blood all over his body surged, and a large piece of flesh and blood rolled out from the inside, and a large piece was exposed. The scene was extremely bloody. Vomit. Many students had never seen such a cruel scene of backlash, and they all ran to the side to vomit. And the freshman couldn't accept it even more, his face changed drastically, and he quickly turned his eyes away. It seemed that he couldn't eat well in the next few days. Shu Li, you killed someone. After all, Lu Jiwan is a person who has seen big scenes, he is a little better than these people, and can accept the blood on the scene. Now, everyone is not in the mood to watch the excitement. They spit out, run away, and likewise, those who need to find a mentor are looking for a mentor, and the scene is in chaos. Shu Li also frowned. With the experience of fighting in the Beimuluo forest, Shu Li hadn't fully understood the fact that killing the owner of the beast would lead to backlash, so Shu Li didn't feel it until now. Killed a man himself. But looking at Lu Jiwan's nervous appearance, he should be responsible for killing a student by mistake in the school, and he doesn't know what punishment he will receive. Shu Li was a little worried about this. Killing people was not his intention, but the fact has become like this. Even if he wants to explain, others may not believe him. Don't worry Shu Li, when the mentor comes, I will definitely explain the situation to him, and I will be able to save you. Lu Jiwan gritted his teeth suddenly, looked at the mentors who were coming from afar, and felt a chill in his heart. He said so, but he still had no idea in his heart, because killing people in school is a serious crime, and it is generally unavoidable, and they are still fighting privately. Although the opponent made the first move and released the beast to kill, but killing is a felony after all. Thinking of this, Lu Jiwan sighed deeply. If Shu Li was expelled from school today because of this, or even asked to be punished, he would definitely help Shu Li bear half of the price. Brother Shu, we'll explain the situation to you. It's obviously that kid who released a strange beast to kill you. Yes, let's clarify the situation with the school. It was their Wang Yao who attacked us in the first place. Seeing so many freshmen speaking for themselves, they did not escape or leave, but chose to stay here and stand with him. Shu Li felt a warm current in his heart. However, Lu Jiwan looked at the mentor who came over, his eyes widened, and Yan Kanzun, who was lying on the side, smiled. Boy, you are dead, it is our people who came. Shu Li looked into the distance. Your people? What do you mean? Yan Kanzun sneered and said. What do you care about? Anyway, you are dead today, especially you kid. No matter how strong your mental strength is, this time you will not be able to escape the sanctions of the Imperial Capital Academy. Perhaps because he was too excited, Yan Kanzun spat out a mouthful of blood after saying this, and the last bit of blood on his face disappeared. Not far away, a mentor with a big belly walked over in a leisurely manner. With that unhurried attitude, it seemed that he was not here to deal with important matters, but rather to visit his back garden. There are 3 or 4 tutors around the tutor with a big belly, which should be the tutors of the students who came to make trouble. Mr. Shu, you are finally here, Mr. Shu. This kid killed someone, even our members of Wang Yi. And he is a B-level student. Teacher Shu. Shu Li looked at the fat middle-aged Mediterranean man with limited mobility. This man was not only bald, but also had heavy dark circles under his eyes. In the circle of awakened people, it is rare to see people with such poor posture and spirit. After all, awakened people have to strengthen their mental strength and physical fitness. As long as these 2 points are improved, then the physical and mental state it must be good. Therefore, among the awakened people, it is difficult to see people who have many diseases like ordinary people. It seems that this mentor is very hypocritical, otherwise it would not be so. Instructor Shu just glanced at Yan Kanzun lightly, then turned his attention to Shu Li. Are you the student who killed someone? Murder. Sir, what you said is a bit serious. I just killed a strange beast, and he attacked me actively. As soon as Shu Li heard this, he knew that there was something wrong with this tutor. The tutor directly said that he killed someone without asking about the situation, which was simply absurd. Sure enough, seeing Shu Li talking back, Teacher Shu released his weak mental strength, and there was a threatening look in his small eyes. What's the difference between killing a beast and killing a person? Don't make unnecessary sophistry anymore. I have seen the scene very clearly. In this way, you leave one arm here, and then quickly pack up and leave Royal Academy. What? Leave an arm? On the one hand, Lu Jiwan was stunned. Teacher, is it too much to leave an arm? All these old students did it. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't. Enough, don't say any more. You are the kid from the Lu family, right? Your father took care of me and asked me to take care of you. I will pretend that I have never seen you this time. You should leave here quickly. If you don't know what is good or bad, even if your father comes forward, I will not protect you. Obviously, Lu Jiwan's family, who was born in the Northern Territory, can be considered a respectable family, so he was able to contact the tutor in the imperial capital. Lu Jiwan did not back down at all. Mr. Shu, this time is not like this. I hope you will give me a chance. Enough, let's go back. I have already made arrangements for how to deal with this student. Instructor Shu showed an inviolable expression, and just as he finished speaking, another instructor appeared beside him. Lu Jiwan took a closer look, and found that the person who came was actually the director of the strengthening department, Zhou Yu. Tutor. Lu Jiwan walked over in a few big strides, wanting Zhou Yu to help them, but Zhou Yu signaled him not to say more with a look. Tutor. Lu Jiwan couldn't believe that his tutor didn't dare to mess with this tutor Shu. Who is this instructor Shu? The director of the strengthening department dare not argue with him. It seems that this time he kicked the iron board. Lu Jiwan's lips turned white, and the last bit of blood faded. Looking at the current situation, he can't do anything helpful for Shu Li. But now, although Shu Li looked calm on his face, he was a little worried in his heart. There are so many mentors here. Although their level is not as high as Shu Li's, their mental strength and physical fitness are comparable to Shu Li's, and some are even much higher than Shu Li. With them, Shu Li can't escape perfectly. Is it really necessary to leave an arm here today? Shu Li was terrified. Medusa was still absorbing the blood-eating flowers in the totem, and she would not be able to get out for a while. The worker ants were at the villa, and they would not be able to catch up. Take them all out, drink them in front of them, and increase your mental strength and physical fitness so that you can fight them. Thinking of this, Shu Li was already ready to drink the potion, and he had to drink it as soon as possible. If he didn't drink it sooner, these mentors might not give him the chance to drink it. Shu Li, you still don't have an arm. Do you want us to do it? Our hands are not so gentle. Instructor Shu looked at Shu Li coldly, without giving Shu Li a chance to argue. This instructor Shu is actually one of the managers behind Wang Yao. Some of the resources that Wang Yao has scavenged from the freshmen over the years have been taken by senior students, and the other part by these unscrupulous instructors. Now that something like this happened to Wang Yao, they naturally have to stand up to protect Wang Yao, and at the same time let everyone know that no matter who you are, as long as you offend Wang Yao, you will die. How could a young and energetic boy endure the humiliation of being cut off with an arm and becoming disabled from then on? Seeing that there was no room for negotiation, Shu Li was about to summon evolution space to take out blood, but heard a cold voice from far and near. Mr. Shu, aren't you being too domineering in doing this? Everyone looked over, and the person who came was Bingshan Beauty, mentor Yang Yuking. Yang Yuking's name is well known in the school, and as soon as she appeared, she immediately attracted the attention of many people. It turned out to be Teacher Yang. I have already settled this matter, so I don't need you to worry about it. Instructor Shu immediately looked at Shu Li and urged, Shu Li, why don't you hurry up? Do you really want me to do it? Seeing this, Yang Yuking frowned, and said, Mr. Shu, I witnessed everything just now. Although I regret that I didn't save this student in time, I can confirm that this matter is old-fashioned. Shu Li and the others are it's just a defense, isn't it a bit too protective of the old man? The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone looked at the beautiful tutor and then at Mr. Shu. The struggle between these two S-level tutors was not something they could interfere with. If there is a fight, they even have to run first, and the battle between the S-level awakened people is likely to affect them. But Shu Li breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that things had turned around. He didn't need to expose his cards so early, and he didn't need to take risks. Mr. Yang, are you questioning my judgment? It's not that Yang Yuking was frightened too much. Facing Teacher Shu's questioning, Yang Yuking still had an iceberg face that hadn't changed for thousands of years. Mr. Shu, what you said is strange. I am not questioning your judgment, because I am not questioning, but telling you clearly that your judgment is wrong. If you want to argue with me, you can go to the principal's office and clarify. Hearing the headmaster's office, Teacher Shu's expression suddenly changed. Are you really going against me? Yang Yuking sneered, against you? Instructor Shu, you think highly of yourself too much. What do you have that deserves my energy to oppose you? If you want to keep Shu Li's arm today, then we will go. The headmaster made it clear. The two instructors were at a stalemate. After a long time, Instructor Shu's face was gloomy. He glanced at Yang Yuking and then at Shu Li. Okay, very good, Shu Li, I don't care about this matter with you, but you kill me. We will not let this incident of members of the Wangyi Club go away. After living a new life, Shu Li will not be intimidated by these harsh words. Then you also let the members of Wangyi wait. This time we have also written down the fact that they want to insult our new students, and we will not give up. Yes, we will not give up. The freshmen started shouting loudly from behind, and Teacher Shu left the scene with a few tutors with such a livid face. Only Shu Li, who was a little surprised, and the excited freshmen were left. Brother Shu, thank you. If it wasn't for Brother Shu, I'm afraid we would have been severely beaten this time. Brother Shu, let's treat you to dinner, let's go. Facing such enthusiastic students, Shu Li smiled lightly. You go, I still have something to say to Teacher Yang. Wait until another day I treat you to dinner. The freshmen laughed and said, Brother Shu, you can invite us to dinner. In this way, we will contact in the group. When you have time, we will come out for dinner together. After finishing speaking, the freshmen left one after another, leaving only Shu Li, Yang Yuqing, and Lu Jiwan behind. Then I'm leaving too. If you have any questions later, please call me in time. Lu Jiwan talked to Shu Li again, and then left, because it was obvious that Yang Yuqing had something to say to Shu Li, and they were obviously getting in the way here. After Lu Jiwan left, Yang Yuqing really said, "It's pretty amazing. I offended teacher Shu within a few days after I came to school, and there is also the Wang Yao Club. It's really enough to make a fuss. The Royal Capital Academy has been established for so many years, and only Shu Li can offend so many people in such a short period of time. The point is that Shu Li can still escape unscathed after offending so many people." Shu Li didn't think it was something to be honored. He also knew that teacher Yang was teasing him in a disguised form, so he smiled embarrassedly. "It's also thanks to teacher Yang's help, otherwise I might not be intact today, survived. If Yang Yuqing didn't come today, then Shu Li would be injured somehow, or even lose his life. It's just that the mentor Shu just now still looked like he wouldn't give up until he cut off Shu Li's arm. How could Yang Yuqing, a mentor who just stayed in school this year, let him dispel this idea?" This point really made Shu Li a little confused. "You're lucky, the principal thinks highly of you, and Mr. Luo treats you differently, otherwise I wouldn't stand up for you." Principal, and Mr. Luo. Shu Li was completely stunned. What does this matter have to do with the principal? What does it have to do with Mr. Luo? These two people have never appeared before. Seeing Shu Li asking her this question with a confused face, Yang Yuqing smiled slightly, and this smile made Shu Li dazzled. Yang Yuqing is usually unsmiling, and few people can see the expression on her face, but she did not expect to smile in front of Shu Li today. "You also know about Luo Lao's spiritual power. This is near the registration office. With Luo Lao's spiritual power, how can you not detect what happened here? And why don't you know that you committed murder here? Luo Lao doesn't care. It means that he favors you." Hearing what Yang Yuqing said, Shu Li suddenly realized that their current location is only 500 meters away from the registration office. Even if Mr. Luo didn't release his mental power, he could still know about it through the students, but Mr. Luo still knew about it. If you don't show up, it's like turning a blind eye and closing one eye, and don't plan to care about it. Then the relationship between this matter and the principal is. Mr. Luo can still understand, but what about the principal? The principal is far away in the principal's office, and it is said that the principal does not often appear in the school. This time I came to the principal's office just to meet him. Yang Yuqing explained. "Before I stepped forward to help you, I had already contacted the principal, otherwise you think I would really confront the school's law enforcement team." Law enforcement team. Only now did Shu Li know why Lu Jiwan's mentor, a dignified department head, would be so afraid of Shu. It turns out that he is not only a mentor, but also a member of the school's law enforcement team. Regarding the school's law enforcement team, Shu Li also read a lot of news about them on the internet. The law enforcement team is an existence that everyone in the school fears, not only the students but also the tutors. Because the law enforcement team can control the students and the tutors, only the principal can't control them. Just today, he brought the new students into such a big trouble. It seems that the freshmen of their current class will have a hard time moving forward in the school. Maybe if something happens accidentally, they will catch it and turn the small into the big. As if seeing Shu Li's worry, Yang Yuqing reassured him unprecedentedly. "You don't have to worry too much, since the principal wants to protect you, their law enforcement team doesn't dare to do too much. As long as you don't do anything that endangers the interests of the school, the principal can keep you down." Quote. Shu Li nodded. That is indeed the case. Judging from the content of the last conversation he had with the principal, this time the principal regarded him as a trump card to win the school's resources for the next 5 years. Even if it was for the school's resources in the next 5 years, the principal he will not give up on him so easily. "Thank you, Teacher Yang." Shu Li and Yang Yuqing thanked each other and returned to their villa. On the same day, the conflict between Shu Li and Huang Yi's members near the registration office spread all over the campus network, and the video began to circulate on the internet, and the number of hits even surpassed Lu Jiwan's fighting video in Beimuluo Forest. "Who is this guy? So fierce. He actually got into a fight with Yan Kanzun from Huang Yi. How courageous he is." It's not just Huang Yi's Yan Kanzun. He killed someone directly. but the scene was too bloody, so the video failed to pass the review and cannot be uploaded. Kill. My God, this freshman is so fierce, he dares to kill in the first few days of school. The law enforcement team doesn't care. How can I ignore it? I heard that people from the law enforcement team also came. According to the people at the scene, Teacher Shu came slowly, but when he left, his face was not to mention ugly. It seems that Teacher Yang Yuking stepped forward. As soon as they heard that Tutor Yang Yuking was also involved, there was another big storm on the campus network. The students in the imperial capital were discussing in full swing on the internet, and everyone was talking about Shu Li. In just one night, Shu Li also managed to break through the third place among the top 20 in the whole list, and became the number 1 in the whole list. And Shu Li's account soared to 2,000 followers overnight. It can be said that it became a real overnight hit and became a celebrity in the 5th Academy. All the students and tutors remembered Shu Li as a student. Naturally, Shu Li doesn't care about these, so the most profitable is the first person who uploads this video. At this time, Wei Haodong was grinning from ear to ear seeing the increasing number of hits and the revenue from the backstage. As long as the number of video broadcasts on the Wangdu campus website reaches a certain amount, the school will automatically send a corresponding video from the backstage award. Seeing that a video he took by hand became popular to the level of 620 and brought huge profits, Wei Haodong laughed from ear to ear. It seems that today's 10 minutes of income can be worth nearly 6 months of school resource allocation. As Shu Li's information leaks more and more, what about this year's SSS level son of arrogance, who lives in a villa area, what uses B-level worker answers transportation, etc., for all the students in the imperial capital and even the 5th courtyard? The students create a mysterious yet powerful image. In this regard, the protagonist Shu Li has no knowledge. After a few days of frenzy for the freshmen to defeat the old students, the freshmen returned to their normal lives, and they also found the gap between themselves and the old students, without the help of Shu Li. They only have to be beaten when they face the old students. So the freshman group is now a pool of stagnant water, and the atmosphere is particularly depressing. Lu Jiwan of Royal Capital Academy. I'm sorry everyone, if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't let you encounter this kind of thing. I'm sorry everyone. After many days, Lu Jiwan appeared in the group chat, and slowly wrote down the words of apology to the freshmen. Some students from other colleges who haven't followed the campus network recently became confused when they saw Lu Jiwan's words. Huajing Wuda Luo Wenzhou. Brother Lu, what do you say? When Lu Jiwan saw someone asking, he told the matter frankly. Immediately afterwards, the group fell into an even more terrifying silence. Lu Jiwan knew that this incident was caused by him. He had to stand up to face this problem, and it was best to be able to solve this problem, so he silently typed a few rows of words. What happened this time is that I made everyone offend Wang Yi and our school's law enforcement team. We have all been suppressed by the old students these days, and we know how difficult it is for us freshmen to survive under the oppression of the old students. However, all this is just the beginning. Lu Jiwan has always been thoughtful and good at analysis, and his words are easier to understand. All the freshmen are quietly watching his message. Many people also began to worry. Other colleges may not feel this way, but the freshmen of Wangdu College have a deep understanding. Dong Sheng of Imperial Capital Academy. Brother Lu, I can't blame you for this matter. I have long since disliked those old students. Even without you, we would have fought sooner or later. You don't have to blame yourself. Fight against these old students and survive under their suppression. Zhou Zichen of Royal Capital Academy. Yes, Wang Yi was bullying too much, and the law enforcement team worked hand in hand with them. Conflicts will happen sooner or later. What we have to do now is to find a way. Save it. There was a lot of response in the group. Lu Jiwan saw that the students were so open-minded about this matter, no one blamed him, and his heart softened. Lu Jiwan of Imperial College. Everyone, I actually have a solution. Why don't you all join a club? As long as you join the club, the suppression from Wang Yi may be much smaller, and you can more or less avoid being directly approached by them. Trouble. As soon as these words came out, there was a deathly silence in the group. Joining the club is indeed the best choice, but which club dares to accept them now? It is well known that the freshmen protested against all the senior students outside the registration office. How can anyone dare to accept them now? All the freshmen's hearts seemed to be pressed down by a mountain, so heavy that it was hard to breathe. Dong Sheng of Royal Capital Academy. Brother Lu, in this situation, how can anyone accept us? Now the old students are huddling together to watch our jokes. I think so. Why don't we freshmen form a club by ourselves? Start a club yourself. Holding the mobile phone, Lu Jiwan's eyes lit up. Indeed, they can establish a club by themselves, but the conditions for establishing a club are very strict. Royal Capital Academy has clear regulations. To set up a club in the academy, in addition to the most basic funds and a certain number of members, it also needs a letter of guarantee from more than one mentor. And these are not the most difficult. The most difficult is the last item. The president must hit the major lists of the Imperial Capital Academy and rank in the top 20 of all lists. Of course, the top 20 on the list is just the most basic ranking for establishing a club. The higher the ranking, the bigger the club that can be established. Among them, the most comprehensive one is the Wangdu Tianzhao list. The classification list also includes the Wangdu Rookie list, and the list of 3 departments. These 3 departments are the Strengthening Department list, the Spiritual Department list and the Control Department list. The Control System list is mainly about the battle of alien beasts. For example, Wang Yi, the reason why their association can occupy a larger area than other associations, accommodate more members, and allocate more resources, is one of the most important points, that is, their presidents are ranked in the top rankings on the major lists, top 5. This undoubtedly makes their society the largest society among all societies. Every student occupying the top 20 on the list is the pride of heaven, the talent among talents, and the rewards they get on the list are beyond the imagination of ordinary people. And Lu Jiwan and the others are just a group of freshmen who just entered the school on, how could they squeeze out those 20 people? Group leader Hua Jingwu Da Zhang Chaofan. Brother Dong, although I don't know what's going on with you, it seems that it's not that easy to set up a club. You'd better think about it again. If there is something that can help you, we, Huajing Wuhan University, will do our best to help. Zhou Zichen of Imperial College. Yes, Brother Dong, we are just a group of freshmen. Even if we have collected enough money and set up a venue in the school, the list is not something we can hit. Dong Sheng of Imperial College. Isn't the layout small? Funding is of course Brother Lu's business. His family's wealth is just a small amount of money to him. As for hitting the list, I think it's Shu No brothers. Seeing that Dong Sheng could push the task to Shu Li and Lu Jiwan so shamelessly, everyone was taken aback and then felt an inexplicable emotion. If Dong Sheng was not talking about Shu Li, but someone else, it would definitely attract ridicule from the crowd. Freshmen challenging the top 20 of the Imperial Capital Academy's list would be nothing short of idiotic and whimsical. But if this person is Shu Li, although it is a bit difficult, it is not impossible, but the chance of success is relatively small. But it's better than impossible at all. Although many people thought it was unreliable, but no one said it out loud, now Shu Li has become the leader of the freshmen of the Royal Capital Academy. He is the backbone of all the freshmen who would question Shu Li's strength now. So after a brief silence, the group started to get lively again. Zhou Zichen of Royal Capital Academy. Although it sounds a little unreliable, as long as Brother Shu makes a move, I will definitely stand by Brother Shu and support Brother Shu forever. Royal Capital Academy Go Xiaochen. Brother Shu, you can rest assured to go to the list. We will also work hard to strengthen our own strength, and strive not to hold back Brother Shu. Lu Jiwan of Imperial College. Alright, since everyone has decided, then in order to add to the fun for everyone, I am willing to fully invest in the establishment of club venues and reserve funds for everyone. Dong Sheng of Imperial College. Brother Lu is mighty. Brother Lu is magnificent. After the matter in the group was finalized, everyone saw that Shu Li hadn't moved, and they all dismissed him. Royal Capital College Lu Jiwan. At Shu Li, Brother Shu, do you want to try to hit the list? Dong Sheng of Royal Capital Academy. Brother Shu, you are the only chance for our freshmen. As long as Brother Shu can reach the top 20 on the list, then our freshmen can establish a club and take root firmly in Royal Capital Academy. Look at the faces of those old students again. At Shu Li. Even if Shu Li didn't want to know about these news, Shu Li was filled with news as soon as he went online. Looking at the news one after another, Shu Li was also infected by them. Wangdu Academy Shu Li. Alright, then I will give it a try. I hope I will not disappoint everyone's expectations. Seeing Shu Li's promise, the students of Royal Capital College became excited and kept shouting, "Brother Shu is mighty." In fact, through the past few days, all the freshmen have come to understand one thing, that is, Wang Yi is just the beginning. Those old students will definitely show up in their school life in the future, and their life will become more and more difficult. If they had a society of their own, they wouldn't have to rely on others. Although the possibility of hitting the success list is very low, everyone has not given up this hope. And their guess was not wrong. From the first day of freshmen's enrollment, those clubs, large and small, began to wait for the opportunity to swallow up the resources of this wave of freshmen. Huang Yi was the first to strike. Unfortunately, Huang Yi failed, so they don't dare to act rashly now, but they usually use small tricks to suppress them. These veterans are really good at it. According to this progress, they will soon be able to get these new resources. But what they never expected was that this group of freshmen actually wanted to establish a club by themselves, and wanted to break into the top 20 on the list. It is simply a fantasy. Now, the war between old and new students has quietly started in a silent place. Whether it is an ordinary university or the Awakened Academy, competition is everywhere, and the competition of the Awakened Academy is a lot of sugar for other academies. Their stress is also many times that of ordinary people. Shu Li was about to exit the chat interface to learn about the list, but received a message. The message came from an unfamiliar number. The school will give you a punishment within 7 working days. Of course, the punishment is just to go through the motions and give everyone an explanation. Don't worry too much. The name was left at the end of the message, Yang Yuking. Punish. Shu Li frowned slightly, but he soon felt relieved. This time, no matter how he killed someone, it was unreasonable not to have any punishment. At the same time, all the students who participated in the fight at the registration office received news from their tutors, most of which were punishments for their fights, and there was a lot of complaints in the group, complaining that the tutors withheld too many resources. Seeing this, Shu Li was a little worried. They were only participants, and their resources were deducted for half a month. So what kind of punishment will Shu Li, a major participant, get? Even if it's just a formality, it shouldn't be too easy. Now that the matter has come to this point, it is useless for Shu Li to worry, so he devoted himself wholeheartedly to the matter of the list. According to the introduction on the internet, several lists require students to use their own information to register first. For example, the impact of the psychiatric ranking list requires students to provide the latest test results of mental power. In order to prevent some students from deliberately concealing their mental power, they must submit the test results within the past 3 days. And after the test results are available, the school's faculty and staff will match their mental powers, and let students with similar mental powers compete against each other. This is the most common way to hit the list, and the other is to directly challenge. After submitting the measurement form, students can directly challenge the top 20 students on the list, and those students have no right to refuse. But this kind of challenge is very dangerous. The school will require the students to sign a life and death certificate before the battle, which means that the life and death of the students has nothing to do with the school. The same is true for reinforcement and control competitions. The competition in the Tianjiao ranking is a little different. The Tianjiao ranking pays more attention to the comprehensive strength of the students. In the battle on the Tianjiao ranking, you can use mental power and strange beasts at the same time. Of course, the effect will be better if you cooperate with physical skills. It can be seen that the Tianjiao list will pay more attention to the comprehensive strength of the students and the reaction force in actual combat. Some students may occupy the top 20 on other lists, but they didn't even enter the top 20 list. As for the rookie list, it is much weaker than these lists. This is the list selected by the students themselves, and it is a list about the strength of each freshman. Shu Li took a look. He actually sat firmly at the number 1 position on the list. Does this belong to me without any effort? Shu Li smiled. Unexpectedly, after his video went viral, the freshman directly pushed him to the first place in the rookie list. Immediately following were Lu Jiwan and others. Just when Shu Li was about to put away the phone, another series of prompts sounded on the phone. Is there anyone else at me? Shu Li clicked on the notification in doubt. Class teacher Lin at Ni. Shu Li, how are you doing at the Awakened Academy? Head teacher, Shu Li looked at the group. This is the group he was in Zhang Cheng's high school class. Since he entered Wangdu College, those high school students have also started formally preparing for the exam. Counting the time, they have almost finished the exam recently. After the exam, the students were naturally in the mood to start gossiping. For ordinary people like them, they were naturally most interested in the awakened. No, there were 2 awakened in their class, one was Lin Wen, AC level student, and the other one is SS level Shu Li. Shu Li flipped through the news. Probably they were asking Lin Wen about the awakened ones, and this also attracted Shu Li's attention. I don't know the difference between other colleges and Wangdu College. Shu Li looked at what Lin Wen and everyone had introduced about her work at Zhang Cheng's Academy for the Awakened, and found that it was very different from Wangdu Academy. In Zhang Cheng's Academy of the Awakened, students are divided into classes like normal colleges, and each class has a fixed tutor who will teach some very routine content, as well as some combat skills and so on. As for the allocation of resources, the same is true. If the family has the ability, they can buy more strengthening potions and so on to strengthen themselves. But just in terms of resource allocation, Shu Li can see the difference between Wangdu Academy and other academies. The resources allocated to students by Wangdu College every month are actually 5 times that of Lin Wen's school. And that's just the basics. Shu Li couldn't help sighing. A top school is a top school. After that, there will be everyone at his news. Lin Wen. Don't talk about me, everyone. Isn't there an SSS level awakener in our class? At Shu Li, you can also say a few words. Lin Wen. How can my college compare to Shu Li's, so I don't want to keep embarrassing myself here. However, Lin Wen's did not attract Shu Li's attention. In order not to spoil the interest of the students in the class teacher actually at him in person. At this time Shu Li can no longer pretend not to see. Shu Li, the school is not bad. There are competitions and benefits. If you have time in the future, you are welcome to come to Beiyou to play. Shu Li's words were simply shocking. Li Min, Northern Territory. Where is that place? Why haven't I heard of it? Zhao shouting. Isn't it named after the city now? How come there is a domain? Shu Li, tell us. Lin Wen, I seem to have heard from the instructor in the school that the North Territory is quite far away from our Zhang Cheng. It is said that it is very advanced, and it is even possible to use flying beasts as a means of transportation. Don't worry about the invasion of alien beasts either. Hearing Lin Wen's introduction, the students didn't believe what Lin Wen said at all, and they all began to question. They didn't believe that there is actually a place where alien beasts can be used as vehicles. Not only their Zhang Cheng, but also the nearby cities with a lot of awakened people have never heard of such a thing. Faced with everyone's doubts, Lin Wen was also a little wrong, because the tutor really told her so, but in the current situation, she can only wrong herself first. Lin Wen, ha ha ha, maybe I remembered it wrong. That's right, where is there such a place in the world? I must have heard it wrong. With Lin Wen's explanation, Ban Qun finally calmed down, and everyone felt that this was reasonable. Seeing that everyone's attention was shifted to Lin Wen, Shu Li silently exited the group chat. With the pressure to challenge the top 20 on the list, Shu Li began to worry about his own strength. Now his mental strength should not be a problem, and his physical fitness can also be improved through blood, but the important thing is that his Queen Medusa is still quietly staying in the totem, and has no intention of coming out at all. If on the day of the competition, Medusa has not digested the blood-eating flower, then something bad will happen. Royal Capital College is the top school in the Northern Territory, which gathers talents from various cities, and there are many students like Lu Jiwan who have a good family background and good strength. So Shu Li did not underestimate the top 20 figures on the major lists. They must be geniuses among geniuses. Shu Li knew very well that if he didn't have the evolution space and the sky-defying system that can be upgraded by drinking blood, it would be impossible for him to stand in the top 20 of several big lists by relying on Medusa. So Shu Li didn't feel lucky for everything he got by cheating. It seems that we have to continue to work hard. www. On the campus website, the most searched entries were almost related to Shu Li, which caught the attention of the school tutors. When the tutor is free, he will visit the campus website to pass the time. When he sees such a student, he is more or less interested. Of course, this matter will more or less reach Teacher Shu's ears. Presumptuous. How can you use a student who violated discipline as a role model? The discussion on the campus network has always been high. Instructor Shu slammed the table angrily. Seeing a series of supporters for Shu Li in the discussion area, Instructor Shu's expression was not to mention how ugly it was. Ridiculous. Let them withdraw all the entries about Shu Li. Don't let this kind of atmosphere pass on in the campus. Several tutors who worked under Mr. Shu's hands had embarrassing expressions on their faces. It is possible to withdraw this, but this time there are too many Shu Li's posts, not to mention that it will take a while to withdraw, and even if these posts are withdrawn, Shu Li will not disappear from the campus network, because he is a freshman now #1 in the rookie list. This kind of list cannot be interfered by their mentors. If they really do something wrong, then there will be more or less discussions like, the list has inside information. The nature of the event will change, and it will be difficult to deal with it at that time. What? A freshman like this is actually on the top of the rookie list? Teacher Shu was in disbelief. Are you still serious? Are you satisfied now that such a student with such a bad record has been sent to the first place? The other instructors stopped talking. After thinking for a long time, Teacher Shu still couldn't swallow this breath, killed a student of Huang Yi, challenged the majesty of their law enforcement team, and now spread this bad atmosphere. This is trying to turn the school upside down. No, I must stop it. Instructor Shu took out his mobile phone without saying a word, and started calling each instructor. Hey, Teacher Wang, I'm Shu Ling. Yes, it's about the student Shu Li. I think we must unite with the tutors to report this matter to the principal. Wang Ding will give this student the punishment he deserves. Quote. Is it Teacher Zhang? I want to tell you about Shu Li's student. Within a few hours, Instructor Shu called several instructors in the school who were close to him. Those instructors were all stubborn and traditional factions, so when they heard what Teacher Shu said about the situation, they immediately agreed. And there are some instructors who believe in Instructor Shu. After all, Instructor Shu is part of the school's law enforcement team. He actually forced Instructor Shu to this point, which shows that the matter has reached a certain level, and even has a little involvement with the principal. Although they haven't personally investigated what happened, they all subconsciously chose to side with Teacher Shu. At this moment, in the principal's office, Principal Yu also called Yang Yuking. Principal, call me. When Yang Yuking came to the office, she looked a little confused. She had already dealt with the matter of Shu Li, could it be a matter of work? Since Yang Yuking stayed in school, he has not received a formal task assignment, and he does not need to teach students, join factions, etc. like other instructors. Now Yang Yuking is completely an idle person, wandering around the campus every day with nothing to do. The only thing he has to do is the principal suddenly calls and asks her to help with things. It doesn't look like she is the school's tutor, but rather the secretary or assistant of the principal who lives in the school. Yang Yuking has always had a lot of opinions about this, but she did not speak out to the principal. Perhaps new students like Shu Li who have just entered the imperial capital will feel that the principal is nothing, and even complain about the principal in private because of the school system. But as a student who has lived in the imperial capital for nearly 4 years and successfully stayed in school, Yang Yuking can say responsibly that the principal is definitely not as simple as it seems, and everything the principal does has his intentions. So Yang Yuking felt that the headmaster treated her like this, probably because he had other things to arrange. Thinking of this, Yang Yuking corrected his posture and stood in front of the principal's desk. The principal was holding the mobile phone in his hand at the moment, looking at the content on it. He couldn't help laughing. It's nothing, I just want to talk to you about that freshman. Yang Yuking was taken aback. Freshmen deserve the principal's attention. Besides Shu Li, who else is there? You mean Shu Li? The principal glanced at Yang Yuking appreciatively, and then put the phone in front of Yang Yuking, where a bunch of miscellaneous posts were displayed. This kid is really capable of causing trouble. Look, in just a few days, the school has been turned upside down by him. I think with old Shu's character, I'm afraid he will bring a group of people to me sooner or later. Quote. Based on the headmaster's understanding of Teacher Shu, he will definitely not let Shu Li go easily, and if it is serious, he will bring a group of mentors to find him. 10 looks that Shu Li will not stop if he is not severely punished. Although the headmaster saved Xu Li from tutor Shu last time, it was more or less because Huang Yi's students were at fault for this matter, and they had the murderous intention first, which led to such a result. Moreover, the principal must give a reasonable punishment, so as to calm down the anger of the law enforcement team. Yang Yuqing looked at the content on the phone. Apart from the discussion about Xu Li at the beginning, there were some more posts, all saying that a freshman like Xu Li has no respect for his elders and doesn't know how to respect his seniors, so he needs to be educated in morals. In just a few hours, a bunch of black Xu Li posts appeared on the campus network. These posts got a lot of likes and reposts from old students, and now they have reached the same popularity as the previous posts praising Xu Li. It is not normal to see these posts appearing, it should be the law enforcement team's hands and feet. Then what do you think should be done? Yang Yuqing still couldn't figure out what the principal was thinking. The principal must still keep Xu Li, but he also had to take into account the law enforcement team. It's really a difficult thing to say. No one expected that such a disaster as Xu Li would appear in this freshman class. Let them make a fuss by themselves first, and when they run out of strength, it won't be too late for me to come forward. The principal saw more and more discussions on the internet. Supporters and opponents became two factions, arguing fiercely, and said with a smile, young people still have energy, and the school AGCA has not been so lively for a long time. Yang Yuqing was a little confused. Then what do you mean by calling me here? It is impossible for the headmaster to call Yang Yuqing over for no reason, nor is it possible to call him over and say such meaningless words. So the principal must have something to hold back. And Yang Yuqing had a premonition that what the principal said next might have something to do with her position in the school. Sure enough, the headmaster said, "You have been used to being a tutor in school for a while, what do you think?" Yang Yuqing didn't understand what the principal meant when he asked this question, and he said honestly, "It's not bad, because it's just in time for the new students to enroll, and the school is quite lively." At the same time, Yang Yuqing's heart skipped a beat. The headmaster's words verified her guess, and it turned out that she came here today to talk about work. The headmaster nodded in satisfaction. "You are very energetic. They are all young people in their teens and early 20s. What's the point of being lifeless every day? Don't you think so?" How dare Yang Yuqing say no? He nodded his head twice. It's a good thing to be energetic, but you can't be too slack at ordinary times. Through this incident, I found out that the law enforcement team may have a little manpower. Are you interested in joining the school's law enforcement team? Just be the deputy captain of the law enforcement team. The headmaster was really speechless. Yang Yuqing was shocked. It was the first time her beautiful eyes widened so much. School, principal, you said you want me to be the deputy captain of the law enforcement team. Isn't this position always vacant? And there are many mentors of the law enforcement team who are much older than me. I think one. The more she talked, the more confident Yang Yuqing became, and the lower her voice became, until finally she closed her mouth slowly. But the principal smiled lightly, looking extremely kind. "No confidence. Do you think you won't be able to take office?" Yang Yuqing nodded calmly. "Principal, I have never been in contact with the law enforcement team, and I am not familiar with it." "If you're not familiar with it, you can learn it. That's it. I've made a decision for you. Go report tomorrow." Yang Yuqing saw the principal's determined appearance, and knew that there was no room for redemption, so he agreed and left the principal's office. On the way back, Yang Yuqing was heartbroken. The principal's conversation with her this time is definitely not so simple. The law enforcement team has always been a battleground in the school's factional struggles, and the principal and instructor Shu have been checking and balancing each other over the years. Now that she is included, it is obvious that they want to take part of the law enforcement team for their own use. But why did the principal let me take office in such a hurry? Unless there was something that stimulated the principal and made him have to arrange me in advance, could it be? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.